Microphone check 1 2. What is this? We are live in full effect on the Cartoonist Kayfabe YouTube channel. My name is Ed Piskor. Welcome to your favorite YouTube channel. This is Cartoonist Kayfabe. Ed Piskor in the house. I am co-hosting with Kayfabe
Brian,
Lieutenant Brian Moss. Tell the people what's up,
hey,
Brian.
what's going on, family? Missed you guys. Hope you're doing well.
And
Still dealing with jet lag, but we're here,
yeah,
Eddie
same
P.
here, man. The sunglasses are very functional today.
Right, totally,
Not
dude.
like they always aren't with this fucking light on my face. But I want to introduce the Kayfabe audience to a very good friend of mine. Once again, another brother from another mother. DJ Scheme Richards, the Nostalgia King. This is going to be the first appearance of DJ Scheme on Cartoonist Kayfabe, but not the last, man. Tell the people what's up, Scheme.
What's the good word, world? The incredible Mr. Fantastic Scheme Richards, aka the Nostalgia King, like my man Eddie P just said. Happy to be here.
Super glad to have you here. And God damn it, each one teach one, right? Like whenever I first came to Japan for my very first trip, Scheme Richards literally was kicking it at the house the day before. It just serendipitously was one of those things, man, where your girl's from this area, Pittsburgh. Scheme Richards holding it
Right,
down for
right.
Philadelphia. So
Yeah.
we're representing the poles, man, the coast of PA. We're the, we're,
All
we're,
day.
we're the Midwestern chapter here in Pittsburgh, man. But Scheme's girl is from this area. Had to make some FaceTime here, and I think you even DJ'd around at like the Titletown set or something like that,
Yeah, yeah. That
which
was a
is
great night.
yeah, famous Pittsburgh party. And it just so happened to be the day before I was heading out to Manga Quest #1, man. When before it even was called Manga Quest, man. We deemed the shit that title day one of 2019 Tokyo trip. And Scheme, how long have you been going to Tokyo or Japan in general?
Man, I've been going consistently every year, sometimes two times a year since 2007.
There it
So
is.
it's been a long run. It's been an amazing run, and it never gets old. It never gets old. It's always an excitement. It's always something new to see, new foods, new digs, new hunts, new parties. So yeah, it's been amazing, man. 2007, it's a long time.
So you kicked it at the crib the day before I split, and I was so excited to tell you that because I knew that you were a veteran of traveling to that region, and was asking very specific questions of you, and you introduced me to the rechargeable battery packs that can fit into your phones and stuff, which is something I was completely ignorant of. I don't know that people were really using them all that much at that point in time, man.
Only I feel like only in Asia were they using it.
Mm,
Only in Asia, like we weren't using it in America like that,
that makes
you
sense.
know. And that was essential right there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, totally, man. Because that was a thought in my mind. Now I ordered a one of those little Wi-Fi battery, one of those little portable Wi-Fi packs. I think Brian used one of those this round, and
Hmm.
you could order it with the extra battery piece. So that was in my mind that I would just kind of plug into that. But essentially, you don't want to be far away from home and not have power. You know what I'm saying? And then you're stranded out in the middle of nowhere, out in some crazy ward far away from your hotel. You have no idea how to get back. That would be a nightmare. So that was
It's
a key.
happened to me.
It happened to you?
It's happened to me before. Like, because I feel like, when your phone gets a little old and the battery doesn't stay charged as long,
Right.
yeah, it's definitely happened. And then I think the next year, I actually had one of the battery packs that fit on the phone itself, and you just press the little button and it charges it up. And then the third year was like, all right, I just need a straight charger to carry around and, get like 50 charges out of it and last for a week. So yeah, it's essential. The charger is essential.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I was very thankful with some of the info that you gave me when it came to just cool places to check out. Super Potato being like one of the popular spots. That was sort of on the list, but you told me like look up, look down as you walk around in that area because that's just how they structure their
Yeah.
setup. Like there might be super cool stores on floor number 4 of some weird building. So that was key because we definitely wandered into some cool alleys and small storefronts that we wouldn't have otherwise. So you dropped the science that first time in 2019, and then Brian, isn't this crazy? Because it's been your third time going to Japan already, and
It's serious now.
it's really only been a year in a way,
Mhm.
since like last November. But what happened was very randomly, Scheme. I don't even know if I ever told you the story, or if we ever told you this story, but very randomly in a way, Jim and I were invited to a festival out in and I will fix this camera. I'm just trying to do it whenever you guys are on the cam and not me. Um, Jim and I were invited to CXC, Cartoon Crossroads Columbus, something like that. It's called, and that is Brian Moss's home turf. I
Mhm.
At that point, Brian, I don't think I've seen you in a couple of years, really.
Yeah, it was a while. We would talk online and text and stuff, but in
Yeah,
person
yeah.
was a while.
So we went to Columbus, Ohio, and we shot a bunch of great episodes with
Some
Brian Moss.
classics. Yep.
It was pretty freaking sweet, man. We did the Simon Bisley Bible stuff. We did the original Marvel tryout kit. We did a bunch of cool shit. And in passing, I was just like, Brian, I'm heading. That was October.
Hmm.
Brian, in about 3 weeks, I'm going to Tokyo, dude, and I really think you should come. I know how deep
Rock
you are with
stars.
the stuff. I know how much you're into manga and anime and video games. Uh, have no fear. Like I don't know a lick of Japanese really either, and because that was like a concern of yours, right? Like,
Yeah, totally, 100%, man.
yeah, like is the language barrier gonna be a thing? That type of shit. And god damn it, dude, if you didn't hash it out with your old lady and all that, man, and three
Right.
weeks go by, I'm out there because what happened was they finally opened up the gates to Gaijin again at that time, and the day that they opened up the gates, we booked a trip and we're out there 12 days later. That was
Hmm.
the way it worked, man. Because and we would have been out there the next day if I didn't have that obligation to CXC. And then there was one other thing that me and Jimmy had to do. Maybe it was Baltimore Comic Con after that or something.
Right. I think that actually was the dead.
Yeah, and then it was like I came home from whatever that other obligation was, and then we fucking skedaddled, and then you guys showed up, man. And
Yeah.
Scheme, just in the same way that you dropped the science to me, dude. Like I each one teach one. I sort of
Hmm.
I hipped
Put me
Brian
on game.
as much as possible, and here we are.
Love
We
it.
all converge in 2023 November, and sort of make a real go of it, man. So off the top, man, Scheme, you got there. Well, no, Brian, congratulations, you're married, and you were up there
Yeah.
a week before
We're
us, man.
there,
So what did you
right,
guys do
for
on
a
your
honeymoon.
setup? And that's my way of getting you to talk for a minute so I can fix my camera.
Yeah, it's all good. So, got married. Then the next day, Rachel and I headed out to Tokyo. We were out there for a week, which included going to Kyoto. Where else did we go, babe? And we went to Universal Studios. That's right. Which obviously we had to hit that Nintendo World scheme for the first time. It was magical. So that was the first week.
In Osaka.
And we were in Osaka. So that was our first week. And I was trying to be like not a crackhead and pick up stuff. I was trying to like save it for the crew and spend time and be present with Rachel. But I
Smart
had to
man.
cheat. I had to cheat a little bit.
Yeah, man. Like whenever I heard that was the plan, right? That you guys were going to be out there ahead of time. I thought that was a perfect strategy, man, because it's like, all right, it's your honeymoon. You got a week to get some honeymoon type shit out of the
Right.
way because when the crew touches down,
It's a wrap.
yeah.
It's a
Well,
wrap.
I think Scheme was out there a couple days before me because you were out there working,
Yeah,
getting them yens.
I got there on the 13th. I was in LA, and then I did a couple parties in LA, and then bounced there on the 13th. So yeah, I was there, and getting my ramen fixing, but I didn't do any digging or hit any shops because I needed to go with you guys first.
Hmm.
You know, it's not. I mean, it's always fun when you go by yourself, but it's like it's not fun until like everybody sees each other for that first time, and it's like, all right, let's go, let's hit the
Right.
stores.
Yeah, it's
Get the
true.
energy going.
And I just saw that Alika from Maui Comics showed up in the waiting room, so I'm adding him. He's
Oh,
slowly
word.
joining, slowly. So I think that he might be in a situation where the connectivity might be a little dicey or something. But we'll just let that play out and see what happens. But yes, Scheme was there. I think it was like a day or two before I popped out there.
Right.
And Alika, who is slowly setting up. Oh man, is he stunting or what? Man, he got the camera on a Ninja Turtles #1. Is that is that
Oh
what- is
man,
that what
come
we see
on,
up
man.
Of
there?
course.
Everybody showing their dicks off on the kayfabe stream. That should be how I titled
How
this
we
stuff,
introduce
man.
ourselves.
Because I
Yo,
gotta tell you, don't say I never did nothing for you guys, man. Because the spicy thumbnail, that's just like Eddie P fucked up. You know how it goes, man. The way social media and the internet works, man. Like, of course, the kayfabe regulars are coming in, no doubt. But you know the haters are gonna come in just to see how bad Eddie P fucked up.
Praying on the downfall, man.
Yeah.
yo,
So
I just want to say, like, I got to give mad props to you, B, because it takes a special type of person to get the phone call and to be like, yo, I'm going to Japan tomorrow. I think you should go.
yeah,
And you just up like that doesn't happen often. I'm one of the few people that I personally know that can make the phone call and be like, "Yo, we're going here 3 days from now," and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, word, okay,
Yeah, dude,
I'm there."
let's do it right now. I'm ready.
and
No,
and
appreciate it, bro, for sure.
and we are setting up next round. You know, like that's a conversation that we got to have
Mhm.
offline because that was just too much fucking fun and. There is common ground, you know. There's common threads, but between all the shit.
Right.
Alika, are you able to hear us, man? We are streaming live now, man. I'm not
I
sure.
hear you, bro.
Oh, there he is.
Yo, what's good, Alika?
Oh no,
Yeah, guys.
I don't know how well that's gonna work, man.
Not over.
Oh, dude.
He just bailed out. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah,
We
Like
tried.
parachute out.
too bad because Alika from Maui Comics is a guy who was on my thoughts a lot going out there, man. Because you see a lot of crazy like, he's a Ninja Turtles head, and like there's a lot of weird shit out there. So he was in my thoughts all the time, and he's a guy that I was just like, dude, you gotta roll out with us one time, man, and just get a lay of the land, see if you dig it. He came through for like a week. He was out there around the same amount of time that you were, Scheme,
Yeah.
and it was his very first time. And I think he had a ball. I hope he pops in because I would love to have him in the mix. But I knew the specific places I wanted to bring him and take him and stuff. But there was a common theme amongst everybody that was out there because also you can't sleep on Danica XIX, who has a super popular YouTube channel and just completed a Kickstarter for an Akira documentary that she's putting together. Like there's common tissue between everybody, and it's it all kind of solidified in my mind when we were out there, man. It's all bosses, it's all people who are running their own games, who are kind of making their own course in a do-it-yourself fashion. It's a punk rock energy. It's people who can kind of like call their shots, don't have to call off request off from a day job and shit like that, and who could just kind of like move and shake in that way. Like Brian's wife, she was up for an Eisner Award this past year, so she wasn't going to be a conflict when it came to the fucking nerd shit that needed to go down.
Right.
Scheme, you come out by yourself, man, because that's like your happy place and all that.
That's my happy place, bro. Like, all day I go there and I'm like, I'm home.
Yeah.
Yo, Eddie P, real quick though, bro. So it's Scheme, it's like he doesn't sleep, man. I saw it. This guy a DJ till 5-6 a.m. went to bed, then met us at like 11. I was tired, and I was tired for you. So I was just like, yo, this dude's serious.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. It's that adrenaline. That adrenaline rush just keeps you going. You know, the adrenaline keeps you going. The excitement of just knowing you're with homies. And like, I feel like when you're that far, you can't waste any hours of the day.
Right. Totally,
You know,
man.
it's not like we're not coming back again, but it's like every moment counts.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That said, when you put that grind in, there goes Alika again. What's
There
up,
we go.
Alika?
What's going on, boss?
What's up, guys? I'm not gonna have much service. I'm out here on Maui right now. I just want my love. I had such a great show with you guys. I love you so much.
Yeah, man. Cheers. It's too bad the connectivity isn't too good because we got a lot to catch up on, but we'll do it again in the future, Uncle Alika.
Okay, don't leave me out, man. I want to catch up with you guys. I had a great time with you guys. Thank you so much for including me.
Yeah, cheers, man. Yeah, that's too bad. I sort of knew that was gonna happen, man. He's driving Ryan Otley from the Invincible comic around Maui now that Maui Comic Con is done. So he's out in fucking wilderness and shit, kicking it in sandlands and stuff. But what I was gonna say was, we run ragged during the day, and it was real funny the one day. Well, okay, here I'll set it up. So my first day in Tokyo, I land at say 5 p.m. Brian, you're already in like Kyoto or Osaka doing some married folk shit,
Mm-hmm.
and I land, and Alika, like I'm in touch with Alika the whole time because he's coming out there with his son, and they're Japan virgins, and I could tell that he was nervous and stuff. So I'm just like, keep in touch the whole time, man. Like they stayed at the same hotel. I hooked them up with like the websites to get like a car directly to the hotel, so it's like complete no brainer, man. You're not gonna have to like after, I guess for Hawaii it was like a 10-11 hour flight. You're not gonna have to now navigate the trains and shit on top of like the sleeplessness of all of that. So he landed a half hour before me. They got to the hotel 15 minutes before me, man. It couldn't have worked out more perfect. I got the same car and we're just in touch the entire time. So you get to the room. We stayed at one of those appas, and it was funny because we were in the heart of Kabukicho, straight up Yakuza town. And the reason I chose that hotel, not only for cheapness, was it was the closest hotel possible to the big Shinjuku station. So like that's just like a major hub that could get you anywhere you want really fast, and you're going to be on foot so much that like it's a blessing to be able to walk 4 minutes to the big station because you're already going to be on your feet from 8 a.m. to like 8 p.m. And so his boy's 13. Boy was wrecked, like the boy just stayed back in the room and slept it off. Like I think the airplane food was no good or whatever on their way to Japan, whatever. But I scooped up Alika right after, throw some water on the face, brushed the teeth one more good time. And man, it was 7 p.m. It was 7 p.m. Like it was dude, we got hours to go in this day. It was a blessing. And it just so happened that DJ Scheme Richards was playing a show in Shibuya in a little venue called The Room. What have you played that venue before, Scheme?
That's my favorite place to play in Tokyo. Like it's iconic, it's legendary. They just celebrate their, I think, 30th year of being in business, and it's where like all of the DJs who like are the real digger DJs who want to play the real shit. That's where they play at. Like, so, for me, it's the spot, and it's a family spot. Like it's like everybody, the door guy's a DJ, so he has a night there. The bartender's a DJ, he has a night there. But everybody's got the most amazing records, and the crowd's always great, and it's right in Shibuya, So it's like favorite place.
Super cool, man. Now we hopped over to Shibuya. That's one stop away from the Shinjuku station, and we didn't say anything to you. I'm like, dude, let's go pop in on Scheme. I think he was playing. I think you were playing till 10, or you got on at 10.
To 11. To 11.
Yeah. So it's like let's pop in on the perfect way to start the trip, man, to kind of form like Voltron and all get together for at least an hour on day one. That's a beautiful statement. And of course, man, we got the phone blasting and we're doing our thing, and if we followed the directions to the room, we are fucking on top of you and or below you, and we're just walking around in loops for 30 minutes, and we're seeing crowds and stuff, but and we're like, okay, well, maybe just follow the crowd, and then they're going to a place that just ain't the room and shit. And I'm like, fuck, Alika, I always forget this part. Sometimes you gotta look up, sometimes you gotta look down, but the room is 10 feet away from us. Scheme Richards is 20 feet from us right now, and I don't know where the fuck he is, man. So we were on top of your head or below your head, pause, and it was like, that's a wrap, it was like, fuck, dude, like, we're wasting time, it's getting late. And that first day when you go to Japan, when you go to sleep, you sleep 3 hours or something, you're so fucking, it's that kind of sleep where you're so exhausted that your body kind of gets 8 hours in like 4 hours. So,
right.
So we were at that level. So we were like, all right, man, let's just head back. Alika's boy's in the hotel room. He's in a strange territory. He probably doesn't want to be away from the boy for too long, all that stuff. So it's like, fuck, we'll just have to reconvene with Scheme tomorrow.
At 11.
Yeah.
Yo, but that's what I love about Japan, though. It's like you miss so much, and like it'll be right in front of your face, but you also discover so much because you weren't looking for something and something just popped up in front of your face. So it's the gift and the curse. Like it's been plenty of times I was trying to find a party and like couldn't find a venue, and I looked up, I looked down, and I'm like, I can't find it, but I'm like, oh man, what's that? And then you go and you're like, oh, this made the trip worth it. But then when somebody points out where you're supposed to be, you're like, oh, it's right in front of me. I just got to go in the elevator up 2 floors.
Just for future reference, is that where how you get to the room once you take the directions to that
no
location?
the room is literally first floor, but then you walk down the steps and you're in a basement in a sense, and it's a giant restaurant over top of it. So it's like, and they have a sign out front. Like, I guarantee you were standing right in front of it.
Yeah,
guarantee.
Yeah. I'm sure of it because I've gotten bit that way before. So with the thumbnail, Eddie P fucked up. We'll call that the first fuck up, and not to even bury the lead. The real fuck up, and Jimmy made me feel it whenever we were recording this past week, and it might be a theme of a conversation that we'll have today because you guys, I already shot a video and put it on Kayfabe showing off my comic book haul, but I want to go through the hauls that you guys scooped up along the way. And the fuck up was that I found this little shop out in the cut, and they had paintings, man. Like, they had original artwork from mangaka we love. There was a Junji Ito painting there for like 3 G's, and there was Sahuo Maruo, that dude who has that one comic that I feel like, hey B man, speak so that the cam goes on you, dude.
Yeah. Boom.
There it is. Scheme. Let the people know.
That's it.
There it is, dude. We set our eyes on this fucking book, and that was a wrap. We all scooped it up like near immediately. But there was Maruo is the painter of that cover. That's his comic. Which by the way, that ninja is not inside that book whatsoever. You don't see him in there at all. But there was an original painting for one of the book covers at this place for about $2,500, and I mentioned those prices and stuff to Jimmy, and he's like, that sounds reasonable, man. And I'm like, why'd you have to fucking tell me that? Why'd you have to say that shit? Because I was thinking it, and I was talking myself out of it, and that's the big regret. That's the big regret. The Junji Ito painting was nice, but it wasn't. It was more conceptual, and it was nothing that you recognize. So that would have been more of just a jerk off piece. But like the Maruo was like classic Maruo cover, with all of that level of craft and detail, multiple characters, a very industrial kind of background. I don't know the cover to which book, but it was there, and that is a regret. Let
me just tell you, Ed. First of all, a good friend is an enabler. And a good friend would listen to a good friend and just drop the 2,500 yen.
Yo,
Well,
what is Scheme alluding to, guys?
You know what I'm alluding to.
and to be clear, 25,000 or
25,000.
no,
250.
250,000 yen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, the enablers club. Like you have to like good friends are enablers. Good friends who collect are definitely enablers.
Yeah, for sure. And Jim knows the score and stuff. Here's the thing, like I got to work on that dude, you know? Like I give him the scoop. He and I are going away this weekend. We're going to New York, Big Apple Con. And during that ride there, listen, I talked him into creating a YouTube channel. You know, I was working on him on the way to Baltimore Comic Con one year, and was like, dude, I want to start up a YouTube channel and look at Wizard Magazine, blah blah blah. Man, like I would love to do it with you, Pause, because it's just better to have two people, you know, and not be Rupert Pupkin in the basement talking to cardboard standees of people and shit. And he was on board, and I told him time and time again, man, like, dude, you gotta come out to the Manga Quest. I'm gonna work on him. I sort of gave him the clue because, like, you know, Jeff Darrow was out there too, and Jeff comes solo. He doesn't bring the wife or nothing, and
Right.
I'm sure that you know Jim would probably come with his old lady or whatever. So like my thing is like because we shot some episodes with Japan Book Hunter when we were out there, Brian. We did 2 rounds of that.
Right.
I told Jimmy for like every week that we're out there, give me 5 to 6 hours, one day a week, and that's all I even have to see you out in this bitch, you know. Like I'll show you some of where the cool bookstores are and stuff like that. But I do know, Brian, especially that last day, that Hakeem and your old lady, when they saw Eddie P coming, when you guys were coming out the conveyor belt sushi joint right in front of Nakano Broadway, and me and my homeboys were going into that joint, we'll lead up to that. But I saw the look of terror in their eyes that they were thinking that you know Brian and Ed were going to now disappear into Nakano, and then they're going to
Yeah.
be flies on the
They
wall.
know they can't keep up with us, man. I haven't met anyone yet to keep up with us, Ed. I swear.
Well, Scheme is
I'm like, we
one
just
of
eat
them.
them alive, dude. We eat everyone alive.
Well, scheme's in the game, no doubt, man.
Totally.
Because we connected that very first day. You know, after we woke up, which was a big day. You know, like you go to sleep for a couple of hours. Me, Alika, and his son, we leave at 6 a.m. and we go to the Skiji Fish Market because that's the only place that's open. And there's that like amazing Buddhist style 18-dish breakfast that they have. That's my day one breakfast because that's a day when you're like most comfortable to be up and about at 6 a.m. because they only serve 100 of them. It builds a line. It opens up at 8 a.m. It builds a big queue before 8 a.m. They only serve 100 of these things, so you got to get into that line. You know, it's crucial to be there by 7 really, and just to hop into that line. So we did that stuff, and what was really cool, I mapped it out so perfectly. So the breakfast is at 8, and we walked around the fish market for just a little bit and got into the line at 7, and we had to take the first ticket, the first number, because they sat everybody already, because the people that get reservations and whatever, and it was like, okay, cool, we're the first people to pull a ticket. Whenever people are done eating, we get to sit down, and it was good because the nerd shit doesn't open until a little bit later. You know, the first thing that opens is the arcades in Akihabara at 10 a.m. And then it's like the Mandarakes, and then nerd shit opens up at noon. So it kind of like worked out because we finished our breakfast and it gave us time to go to Akihabara. The arcades are open. And then Scheme, like I hit you up and was like, okay, we're gonna be in Akihabara, fucking around at the arcades a little bit. Alika's a gamer also, you know, messing with retro games. And there's like that one floor, it's a 6th floor on the Gigo building, number 3, that has the retro game floor. And you got your Moonwalker, you got your tabletop joints of like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Galaga, Space Invaders, Mario Brothers, Arkanoid, that type of shit. Some cool old card games. I was playing my favorite card game, and I was thinking, man, I haven't played Chase HQ in a long time. It would be so dope if they had that here. They delivered it the week that I left, like the very last time I went to the arcade, they put Chase HQ in there, and I got to fuck with it for like the first time in a decade. So I'm hitting you up, Scheme, because Brian is still out in the cut. We're doing honeymoon shit, not in Tokyo,
Right.
and it all just like aligned perfectly. Me and the boys had 45 minutes to an hour. I got to beat my game Radmobile on 1/4. Like that's my claim, you know, that I could like beat that one on 1/4. And Scheme's like, all right, cool, man. Let's meet at Super Potato. And Alika and his son, they are, well, Alika's a retro gamer and shit. So I couldn't wait to show him Super Potato. That was one of those places that I always think of him whenever I visit, because his like man cave, it's deep. You know, he's got so much Nintendo stuff, so much old video game shit. I hear tell that he had a Neo Geo. I don't know what happened with that one.
I don't know. I don't know where it went. Might have came to Pennsylvania somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. Like, yeah, we'll get there in a conversation, man. I hope you guys have a little bit of time to chat, because there's so much to a debrief and stuff. So, Scheme, that's where we connected with you, right outside of the Super Potato. That seemed to be our converging spot whenever we would connect, because Brian and Rachel were in some like far off ward. That was like closer to Akihabara or some shit, or like close to that fish market.
Oh yeah, you saw where we were staying at the hotel.
Yeah. And then Scheme, you were like closer to like Asakusa, Roppongi, something like that.
I was in Asakusa, so that's like a quick train ride away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I woke up. I was like, when I got the text, I was like, oh, okay, cool. And you were like, oh, you were already at so and so, and I'm like, what? Why are you out the house so early?
Right. That was like. Because you know, we kicked it all day, right? And then that's the day that Danica shows up, and we took her to dinner, and it was like 11:30 at night and stuff. And I was like, yeah, man, we've been at it since 6:30 this morning. And you were like, why like destroy yourself on day one? And it's how we do
That's
it.
how it goes down.
Yeah.
And so day one, like the statement that I always have to personally make whenever going to Tokyo is I got to step foot in all three mandarakes, man. I got to step foot in the Akihabara one. I got to step foot in Nakano Broadway, and I got to make my face seen in the Shibuya mandarake, because at this point now, you know, the greatest thing that happened in 2019 when I was brought out there by Pun P, the Japanese rapper, he's juiced in, you know, he had like low key fame in Tokyo on like an underground level. And the Nakano Broadway manager guy, Katsuya, who took us to the Murakami Cafe, he's an underground rapper from like the 90s. You know, he had a whole crew and stuff. And I think whenever he took us, Scheme, that first round, he had a shirt for his crew. I always forget what it was called, man. But like Pun P hooked me up with these like mandarake cats. So when the face gets seen at these joints, the showcase books change.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So like on day one, like I, you know, make the rounds, man, shake hands, just like say what's up, you know, if the certain managers are in the spot, you know. And so we from Super Potato, we go do that. And that's like an hour and a half at least, especially it's like Alika's first time. So like you got to go through every floor, start at the tippity top, go through shit. And he ended up coming away with a Famicom, a bunch of games throughout his trip. He got all the rest of the Ninja Turtles doujinshis that I did not scoop up. And there is a story where that is concerned, because you never see emotion from a retailer's face out there. And when he was picking up the gay sex Ninja Turtle books by like the inches, you know, like this much, first off, it was my dude Katsuya, the manager of the Nakano Broadway mandarake, who's like taking us around. So like that's the opportunity where you like speak up, and he could take you to the exact spot where everything absolutely is. On day one, I rarely buy things. Scheme, maybe we did buy these on day one.
Day one, yep.
Because there is a thing that happens where if you see something that's just too radical, you will not remember where it is because of all the imagery that you'll see during your trip. So like there are times where you have to scoop up the thing day one, which is what this is, because it's like the most evocative image I think I've ever seen on a comic book cover.
Yeah, like that definitely like there's you never want to run the risk of forgetting where you saw something or it not being there when you get back.
Right.
Those are two things. Like when you see something like, oh, you got a whole series of it, great. They'll be here. And if one's missing, cool, I can find the one, issue somewhere. But when it's that one thing and you're like, man, this is amazing in every way, you gotta grab it.
Right.
Because it's definitely not going to be there next time. Or you just won't remember where you saw that. There's just so much. Right. It's sensory overload. There's so much to see.
Yeah. And that is actually, there is another Eddie P fuck up, and the fuck up would be that I saw out there somewhere the two Kaze Shinobu Tiger Mask books, and when I wasn't 100% sure because I saw them in the wild, and Sean Japan Book Hunter said that the second one is rare, so like it's an unofficial set of Tiger Mask that this Kaze Shinobu dude did. And then there's the official Tiger Mask comics, and they have many forms. Like there's Bunko editions, and then there's the proper tankobons and stuff. And I wasn't 100% sure what I had in hand, but it was just 2 volumes, and it was shrink wrapped together, and I could not fucking find where those things were. Like that was a failure, because like I had them in my hand, and then we shot that episode, Brian, with Sean, and he confirmed those were the exact books. So after we shot that day, I fucking ran around like Jimbocho and a couple other places because I was like, oh, I know exactly where that was. And the truth is, I think I did go to the place where it definitely was, and it got snapped up.
Yes, I snatched it up quick.
Yeah, which is semi-rare for me because my taste is stupid. Like nobody cares about the stuff that I'm really looking for. I don't think, and I take that for granted quite a lot. Like because here in the States and shit, whenever they have like a sale where things are 50-cent bins or something, you guys could go fucking get the chaff out of the way because you're not looking for what I'm looking for. And even if you pick up maybe one thing that might have been cool to me, I'll find it somewhere else. But get the chaff out of there so that I can look for my weird Aerosol comics or whatever, man. So
what's crazy though, Ed? When I do run into that scenario where it's like I'm not sure if this is the one, if it's not too pricey, I just grab it.
Right.
Because you know what? It's always the one.
Yeah, totally. Like that's a lesson, man. That's definitely a lesson, because I would have liked to have had that this Kaze Shinobu Cartoonist, which the episode isn't live yet. It will be soon. He's a masterful cartoonist. He's little known in the States, and his craft is just at a super high level. Very very imaginative, a lot of outlaw energy. But going back to like Alika grabbing those, and I really wish he was here, man, to kind of tell the story, because we kind of touched on it when we were in Japan, and I don't know if I gave him the full story, but maybe. Anyhow, so excuse me, when you have Katsuya, the manager of Mandarake in Nakano Broadway, and you're able to point to stuff like, hey man, I'm looking for this, and he takes you to the exact spot. Alika's big time Ninja Turtle fan. So he was like, where's the doujinshis at, man? I want to get the ones that Ed didn't scoop up. And, Katsuya's like laughing and is like, oh, I'll take you, man. Which he laughed at me too, because those kind of comics are made by girls and they're typically for girls. You don't really see dudes fucking with that stuff. It's some weird chick fantasy about like 2 dudes, dipping the dock. And, Alika grabs it all. I think he spent $200 worth of getting these gay sex Ninja Turtles doujinshi, and I don't think that the Japanese crew, like the shop owners and Katsuya, I don't know if they knew like that we're just like into these weird ass comics, like it's like a novelty thing that it's Ninja Turtles to us, and so Katsuya's kind of cracking up. And probably like, oh, you sick fucking perverts. But then when he takes it to when Alika takes his basket, and that's the other thing, dude. These doujinshis, they're slight volumes and stuff. And the manager guy comes proffering like a fucking shop and save basket like a grocery basket, like to put all his doujinshis in it. So it just makes it extra foul, that you have like 20 pounds of turtles, incest, gay porn. And when Alika, brandishes this brick of turtles porn to the front desk, I'm standing by Katsuya, the manager, out by the front door, and the little retailer girl has no idea that I'm affiliated with Alika. So she's faced away from Alika as he's doing business and making his transaction with the person at the cash register. The look on this girl's face to Katsuya, like the nonverbal communication that they were doing with their eyeballs to each other, was of such contempt and disgust that I've never seen on someone's face.
I love it.
In the land of the rising sun.
Love it.
It was a sight to behold, man. Scheme, did you get anything at Nakano Broadway that day?
Yeah, I did actually. So I grabbed. We love covers.
Yes, that's it. You have to buy by the cover because it's all in shrink wraps.
Exactly, it's all about the covers. So I bought a few of these like Joy comics. Let me see if I can get a good angle on that. Boom.
Yeah, there you go.
Because
the way Zoom works, Scheme, is when you say something, the camera will go on you, man. So say the word and we'll be able to see that cover.
All right, so Joy Comics, boom, boom, boom. That was one of the covers. Ridiculous cover. The artwork is just ridiculous on all of these. The coloring is ridiculous. We got that. We got another one.
Oh, she got the yens and the panties.
The yen, yeah, and that's just like a really dope cover all around.
Yeah, these are all Peter's Scheme.
Yeah, speak up, Scheme.
So so visually, like, it's all about the visual representation of these books. Like everything. I mean, everything about them is just like, even like you said, even before you open them, because they're shrink wrapped, like that's what captures you. The ill bondage ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like, love that. Like, it's all about that imagery. Like, it's just dope. And it's everything that you don't see in the States.
Yeah, it's true. And where they place those books is just right next to the Doraemon fucking comics. There's no stigma to that kind of shit.
Yeah, there's no stigma whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's like they do it right. And it's because, in America, people are looking at people like, oh, why are you buying that? Like, what is that? Like, why are you into that? But like in Japan, it's normal. It's like normal. It's like you see the businessmen at the 7-Elevens and they're just like, oh, they're reading all of the nudie magazines or the whatever magazines, after work. No one's paying attention. No one even cares.
Yeah, no, it's just what they do. They actually cleaned up the convenience stores a lot since 2019 was probably the last little bit of the stuff where you would see the guys at the convenience store where the magazines were not wrapped up. Right. And it was it was an effort even in 2019 when I was there. They were doing what they could to kind of clean up for the Olympics, for like the gaijins to come in for the Olympics. Essentially since the Olympics were in Nazi Germany, however many years ago, like it's become such a propaganda tool for the host country to stage the Olympics and kind of put the good foot forward to the world and kind of show off and stuff. So Japan is sort of no different than any other country where it's like, we sort of know what the world at large, what the status quo is. So we'll try to accommodate that. But I got to see it in 2019, like right next to the Shonen Jump. And I think it would be that one magazine that the Takao Saito, the Golgo 13 guy, runs. It's called like Ran magazine, where it would be like samurai era, like, how do you even put it, man? Definitely like concubines and geishas are at the short end of the stick. And sometimes those concubines and geishas, vaginas turn into mouths with teeth and fucking chew up dudes. You
I
know,
missed
like
that era. I mean, and it was only 4 years ago, but I missed that era of Japan. Like I missed it. It was just free. It was like no one cared. And until the Olympics come now, it's like, oh, we got to clean up. We got to do this. Just like it's for the Olympics. The Olympics failed anyway there.
right.
Right. Well,
You know?
scheme even further back with 2007, I can imagine like what it was then versus even 2019. You know what I mean, bro? Because that would be what, 10 years already?
10 years. Yeah,
At
it
that
was
point?
so different even
Wow.
then, man. It was like everything post COVID and post Olympics, everything just like totally changed. You know, I won't even say it's for the good. It's for the good of their identity and their imagery. But I'm like, this is what you guys have been forever. Don't clean up for the outside world. Who cares?
Yeah, it seems like it's very accommodating towards vacationers, foreigners
Which
now.
wasn't the case years ago. I feel like when I was going there, like I would be one of the only foreigners on the trains, really. Like now it's just overran, but
Right.
I would be the only one. You know, late nights riding back to the neighborhood, I would be the only one. You know, and now it's just kind of overran. But it is what it is. It's still the gems there, you know, but the experience of 2007 is so much different. And my homie's been going there since 95. So him going there since 95, 94, I'm like, totally different experience because
Disney
no one in
World.
the outside world was going there.
Yeah, Disney World versus like, rundown Midwest amusement park.
Exactly. So, yo, one of the other things that I picked up when I was out there the first day, and it was like I was looking because I love Ultraman and I'm all about Ultraman. So we were in Mandarake and it was knocking on Broadway, right?
Yeah.
And I picked up vintage vinyl Ultraman, which I needed, for the Ultraman collection.
So speak on that. I don't know much about vinyl toys, and where that particular Ultraman was set up, there might have been a dozen Ultramans, but you gravitated immediately towards that one and one other one. So explain the significance of that.
So this one was actually made in the 70s. Like I try to go for the vintage first and foremost, but then there's some that were made in the 80s, some were made in the 90s. There was actually some made like early 2000s, which are still kind of, they use the same mold as the original ones from the 70s. And they're still kind of highly collectible. But I always try to go for the vintage first and foremost, because the vintage just looks good. It's just something about them, and then when you see like the bull mark stamps on the bottom of it, which is the original company that made them, that just adds to it. But there's a lot of them that have been come out over the years that's, equally as nice, but vintage all day. It's like getting a John Byrne and a Claremont versus whoever the artist is today.
Right.
So yeah, toys.
And as you could tell from Scheme's backdrop, man, like his era is earlier than like the Jim Rugg Eddie P era, and that's what Scheme
I got
dropped the
everything.
bombshell, man. How old are you, Scheme?
52. 52. I'm 52. But yo, I gotta tell you, I see the background going on there.
Yeah, bro.
You gotta do one thing. You gotta do one thing for me. You gotta step it up and you gotta get the Scranton Jets on the back. You gotta get the wing.
Yo, Ed, I've never even seen the jet on the back, and I've been studying this piece for the past 2 years now. Oh, come on. That's amazing. I didn't even know. Is that an accessory you have to buy separately at the time?
Yeah, I'll give you the hookup on it. I'll give you the hookup. You need that.
I do, man. I'm struggling over here. My Mazinger is Mazing. I need the dirt on it.
Right?
And see, this is all triggering to me, man, because when I was a little dude going to friends' houses that had like a bigger brother, like they would have those Shogun Warrior joints and stuff, and those were off limits to like our little butts and shit. And I would just marvel because, like, I mean, we never had toys that big, Like, I mean, you had the USS Flag, the GI Joe aircraft, but like only children of divorce had that thing.
Right.
And
yeah, the Shogun Warriors. That's Christmas 1977 right there for me.
Dude, I was not even there. I was born in 81. and I see like the promotion or the ads or like just the testimonies from like my brother-in-law and stuff, super famous jazz dude. And I'm like, man, can you imagine going into like a Woolworths at that time and just seeing them lined up, all of those? I would freak out. I would like lose my mind. I lose my shit, man.
That was a good era because you could find all this stuff. Like you said, you go into Woolworths, you go in all of the five and dimes, you go into the Kitty Cities, you went almost everywhere, and the toy section was ridiculous.
Yeah, man, different level. It was different times. That was like the era where I feel I missed a little bit. So I'm like catching up now to like with the Shogun Warriors and stuff, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
you need those.
Scheme's old enough to even know about like Micronauts and shit.
Micronauts.
Right.
Yo, it's crazy because that toy line is super rare now, super expensive, and I used to see them in Japan all the time. I don't even see them in the display cases anymore
Right.
because like people just came in and scooped them up. So yeah, they were rare 20 years ago, and now like they're almost like impossible to find.
Yeah, I mean, those figures, like, we know the Michael Golden comics, and we know conceptually that they were figures, and you get these little sets, and you could you know combine them with other sets and create your own vehicles and all that shit. But like, I've never seen anybody grow up with that era. So I'm very excited, Scheme, to eventually like with Jimmy to do an episode with you on the channel and just call it something like introducing the Nostalgia King and going through the stuff from what you're working on specifically, and then do like a little run through with like the stuff that you got back there, the OG Stretch Armstrongs and shit like that.
I
That's a
got
cool thing.
so much stuff, like so much stuff. Stretch Armstrongs. I got boxed Star Wars stuff, boxed GI Joes, like the 12-inch GI Joes with the kung fu grips.
Bro, that's not even the arcades. He got arcades, guys.
I got the arcade machines and pinball machines. I got all of the Evil Knievel stuff. I got this is I got to show you this joint, Ed.
Do it.
He's like the coolest older brother.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where we're like, wait.
Yeah, you guys are my brothers from other mothers, and it's Scheme's
totally.
the big brother.
Yeah, totally.
So there's a company from Philly that made AM FM radios back in like 60s, 70s, and they had a licensing with Marvel to do AM radios. So here's the Incredible Hulk.
It's amazing, man.
Right? Incredible Hulk AM radio.
What? Oh man, who is that? Herb Trimpe design?
Show it off and say something, Scheme, and I'll tell you in 2 seconds. Say something.
Is that a Trimpe? Is that?
That's a good question, man. If I had to guess, I would say Trimpe, but it actually just looks like some licensing, some hack laid something over top of our Trimpe or something.
Right, right, yeah, but like, so they really did it. Like, so this company in Philly had the licenses. They did like Spider-Man, Hulk, Fat Albert, and a couple other things. I think with Marvel, they only had the licensing to do Hulk and Spider-Man. I mean, for all I know, they might not even have the licensing because it was from Philly, but they were manufactured in Hong Kong like everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And it
does yours work, Scheme? Does yours work?
It works. Yep, it works. It says 1976 or 78 Marvel Comics Group. Yeah. So, yeah.
Do you have all of them?
No, I need the Spider-Man. Spider-Man's just like super hard to find. Super hard and it's even harder to find in the box.
So, that one's crispy.
So Scheme, the way the channel works often is Manifest Destiny, dude. Like if you're looking for the Spider-Man, there might be somebody out in the audience who could get in touch with you, and both of your links are in the description below this video. Links to send you off to Brian Moss's Instagram, links to send you off to Scheme's website and Instagram. So if anybody's got a loose one or something, man,
I need that.
Yeah,
I need that.
we were making deals. We were making deals out there. I guess we could just even talk about that if you want, man. Elite. One of the things we were hunting for with you, Scheme, like on day one when we were out there, like in Akihabara and some of the other spots, you had a Neo Geo on the mind because that's what Brian scooped up last time. Brian, did you get that in May when we were there in May, or was it
Yep.
last year?
Got it in May because the first time I was just getting everything from my childhood. So like, the Earthbounds and all that stuff, which, and then the second time I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for Grail. So I was gonna go for the high end stuff. And then that's when it got serious at the first time. And then I didn't realize, and we'll talk about it this time, Scheme's an enabler. And then
we'll get
Ed,
there. We'll get there.
yeah, we'll get there. And then Ed posseed up with Scheme, and it went to a whole different level. So we'll talk about that. But to answer your question directly, I did get the Neo Geo
In May.
the second time,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize mine would be considered a deal now because those things shot up. Like I actually felt bad for you, Scheme, because I was like, man, we couldn't find one. And then the prices when we would look online were outrageous. It was like, dude, that's some nonsense.
You know what's happened since May is that at these aftermarkets, which that's what Mandarake is, they sell old rope. It's not new material. And these video game stores that we go to, Super Potato and some of those other Akihabara joints, it's arbitrage. They're selling retro things. Between May and now, they finally put fresh price tags on the shit to correspond with that yen. So that's what it is. I was like running some of the numbers because the Domu that you scooped up, Brian, was more than what we paid,
Right.
technically, but it's the same amount of US dollars that we paid.
Right, exactly.
You get what I'm saying? So they've updated that stuff for the big Willy items, like the stuff that's still on the racks that you have to that are spine out that you got to like look through. Man, I grabbed stuff that was 60 yen out there. It's like, a fraction of 50 cents.
Dude, yeah, I was grabbing stuff and I was like actually giving it to Hakeem because I'd find a better version,
Right.
like of Bao, for an example.
Yeah.
I found a better version and it was like $2 more. And I'm like, well, here you go, Hakeem. You can have this old beat up one. I found a better one, like for days.
That's what I love.
Scheme on day one when we're going around. Did you scoop up any other stuff? Because like that's another thing that you have to navigate and negotiate. Like day one for me typically is put eyeballs on stuff, and kind of like just get a lay of the land. Let them see me at the various Mandarakes so that they switch up the showcase books, and then throughout the rest of the trip, it's like I'll grab a couple of things because like the worst thing that could happen, and Alika was there for like such a small amount of time that he didn't have that luxury, right? So he had to scoop shit up, and he's grabbing full manga series and shit when we're like on the road, we're far away from home, and I know the tension of that plastic bag digging into his fingers and shit like that, It was brutal, but there was just kind of no option for him. So those books that you showed off, I remember you scooping those up at the Akihabara Mandarake. So that was like the first stop. So was that probably the only stuff you got that day?
That particular day, yeah. And then because I had the Neo Geo on my mind, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this. And the crazy thing is, I've been seeing the Neo Geos forever going there. And they'd be like, oh, it'll be here tomorrow. It'll be the next year when I go. It'll be there. Oh, they're cheap. Yeah, it'll be there. Because I never felt like carrying it back home, and I just knew it will always be there.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward to Olympics, post-COVID, everyone now going over there.
Right. And it was kind of a cock tease, right? Because when we were at that Akihabara Mandarake, the video game floor, there was all those boxes for Neo Geos set up, but there was no price tags. It was just they were showing them off or something.
Yeah, it was just display, just empty boxes.
Yeah, that sucked.
So I'm sitting back and I'm like, man, I can't even find. I mean, we went everywhere and couldn't find one.
Right.
And I remember Brian last year. You were like, yo, they were in abundance. They were everywhere. We need to go here, and they weren't there.
Right.
Right.
But what was interesting this round was there were more Neo Geo games available than there ever was since I've been going there. Like for whatever reason, I think it might have to do with those arcade sticks that have come out because you could easily emulate so much. And I found that with the books, like the complete Otomo set that they've been putting out lately, whenever the complete Otomo version, the clean, brand new, sleek part of the set kind of Otomo stuff, whenever that comes out, you go to the Mandarakes, and the original books that are being reprinted in those completes, you could find those because people are getting rid of their old shit and just getting the cleaned up new stuff because they're like consumers. They're not like us where there's like looking for
Right.
the OG materials. It's like, hey, this is nicer, this is cleaner, it looks better on the shelf, it's not dinged up, it doesn't have 40 years of summer fucking
Right.
mildew and shit growing on the pages and yellowing them and all that kind of thing. But so it was known day one because I was with Alika and his son that Scheme, you were looking for that Neo Geo, and then some kind of conversation happened between you guys, and like maybe you could elaborate on that a bit because that was your business.
Yeah, he was Alika was just kind of like, "Oh, I've got one." I was like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yo, I'm trying to love it, but I just can't love it." Like he's like, "I've been trying to love it, And I think Nintendo's really his lane that he really loves, But he was like, I might be willing to part with it." And I was like, "Oh, the rabbit ears go up, and you're like, oh, really now?" Like, And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, let's just talk about it." So I let it go for, you know the first day. I was like, okay, we'll shop around a little bit. Second day, I'm like, I don't see anything. Hey, how's that? How's that Neo Geo going? And he's like, yo, let's work out a deal. And it was like worked out a deal, and we'll make it happen when we get home. And bang, it was like it happens.
Oh, some games came with it.
Yeah.
So what did you get with the set, man?
So Riding Hero, which is actually like really fun. Motorcycle, Thrash Rally, of course, Samurai Showdown.
Yeah, I gotta have one of those.
That's the American version.
Yeah, it's the American version.
Wow.
Because what's it called in
So,
Japan? Samurai Spirits.
yeah,
Mhm.
Okay.
Samurai Spirits, and then League Bowling, which I haven't even played League Bowling yet.
Nice.
That's always on a top 10 list, by the way. The bowling game.
I noticed that. So it was like, and I mean honestly, the deal for those four and the system and competition joysticks, let's just say I could take you guys to dinner and it would be more expensive than that.
Man, that's all love.
Alika is a prince, man. Like
let's just say if I buy four of you guys $100 steak each, it's still cheaper than that.
yeah,
Wow.
like Alika's
That's
such a
cool.
sweet guy, and
He
I'm sure
truly
you guys
is.
felt that energy out there. He's just like such a prince, such an awesome dude. He's contributed to the Kayfabe channel in insane ways, man. Like he sent us all like the Akira epic comics for nothing. This was even before we met him and shit. And the whole run of that, me and Jimmy flipped the coin for that stuff. Jimmy won that flip. But the last two issues are super hard to find and very very expensive. And he just did that. I made that deal with him with those Mad magazines, for like a piece of artwork, and
Yeah.
he hooked up, sent me 15 fucking priority mailboxes with 450 issues plus all the specials of Mad magazine. He gave me and Jimmy heavy metal number ones to do episodes on. Like he's just such a good like sweet dude.
His
And
energy was amazing this whole trip. He's just like he's not the villainous and the treacherous guys like us. He's like he's the Luke Skywalker of the Han Solo, Boba Fett, and Darth Vader's. Like, he's just like a good dude, all around. So I was happy to make the deal with him, man. He's just a beautiful soul.
yeah, totally, man. So we hit Akihabara. We go to Nakano Broadway, and as we're kind of like going through all the little alleys and stores there, which by the way, Scheme, you and we did not see everything. Like it was the last little Nakano Broadway trip that me and Brian did, where we saw the Mandarake that has like the Lucha Libre masks and the little Keshi Gashapon Kinnikuman joints and stuff. Like
Right.
that's on the second floor somewhere, some like back alley. Like you and I, we missed that. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe that we happened upon that store because we were there 5, 6 times, and we
I think because we
fucking
were looking for certain things each time
totally,
versus just strolling.
yeah,
We had our mind on things,
for sure, for sure.
so that's definitely why. And that B Moss always smells out the goods.
He's got the eye, man. He's like the truffle hound, like could find that the deep cuts and shit. But when we were doing our thing in Broadway, that's when Katsuya kind of caught up to us. Now the whole time I'm texting him while we're doing all of our shit, just letting Katsuya know that we're gonna make the scene. And the way I described the Mandarake managers and stuff, they are like when you watch Sopranos, like the managers of the casino, if you're high rolling, like they might take you to dinner and like that types of shit. You know what I mean? Like stay in the good graces, all that kind of thing. So it was our first day. And Katsuya caught up to us, man. He saw our bags that we weren't just like window shoppers and shit. And then he took us to that Murakami cafe for the first time. That was an eye opener because that was not opened when we were. Brian, it wasn't open in May, was it?
It was open. It was sparingly open, Ed.
Okay.
But what was happening is that was a lot of the Westerners coming in, and so they had a backed up line with they were even open for like 3 hours for just some shitty drinks,
I see.
respect. But yeah, more or less it wasn't available.
Yeah, because I don't even remember seeing it. Like I remember his original thing on the fourth floor, where he kind of like, sort of refurbished it to look like the old school,
Mhm.
Yeah.
mall from like the '70s or whatever. Which I don't think that's there anymore. I didn't notice that piece on the fourth. I know he has his own shop and all that stuff, but like
Right.
that specific thing with like those cigarette machines and stuff, I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, that stuff was gone this time, Ed. Yeah,
Right.
you're right.
Yeah.
Right. So, Katsuya took us to go get some like little flower faced
The lime
eclairs and shit.
soda,
Yeah, the melon soda
melon
joints,
soda. Yeah.
and it was the first big photo op, and then you like that's when you realize like Murakami is he really is. It's like beyond Andy Warhol. It's like Andy Warhol's like worst dream because he's got he's got his little flower with the face, and it's so monetized. Like Murakami, he's a fine artist, right? But he is not above even taking your single dollars. He'll sell you things from $1 to $100 million, and every
Yep.
piece in between. He'll take everybody's money, and so you could go get your melon soda for like $10 or whatever, and it was set up like an old school kind of cafe, right? Like where his poppy imagery everywhere, the motifs of like Space Invaders on big screens and shit, and then like the tabletop, like where you put your melon soda and you sit and chat, it's arcade machines. But he even fucking rigged those little coin things, the insert shits, so that like it don't even take yen. You got to go spend 500 yen at the front to get a special flower face token to play, a 1 credit of a Space Invader. And it's like, man, this dude's charging $5, man, to fucking play
Yo.
Space Invaders.
I'm not mad at that. Like,
Me neither,
like
man.
he's got it, and he's got the system, and he knows people are going to go for it. So it's like, make the money, like do what you got to do,
Absolutely.
And it's been lasting for a long time. Now he's been milking it for a while now,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. So
Yeah,
I
the
don't
trend
see-
the trend would have been already passed in the early 2000s,
Right.
So he's definitely like made it an entire universe,
Yeah.
right.
There's a question that came in the chat from West Coast Avengers. When you guys are on the hunt, are you identifying books by the spine at all, or do you have to take everything off the shelf? And that's what we
Yeah.
do, right? Like you just
Yeah.
one book after the other off the shelf. There are general areas that you can go to if it's a big name cartoonist like Maruo, like Katsuhiro Otomo, Goseki Kojima, Go Nagai, the big names. Tezuka has three racks. And then you could kind of pull out from their particular sections, but it behooves you to spend a day. You bring out some broads, like say, so Brian will always probably travel with Rachel,
Right.
so so we know that there will be one piece of feminine energy on the trip. So like it be like it's incumbent upon me and everybody else to like you got to bring like another girl or two so that like the girls could go off to the mini pig cafes and to go to the hedgehog cafes and to have and to pay $50 to have pigs and otters shit on them and stuff, with their little blankets on or whatever it happens out there. I've seen those weird photos with the dookie all over them. Anyhow, they could go do that stuff because we have to spend a day fucking pulling these books out to like look at everything because you will get your mind blown every now and then. You'll pull something out and there's no rhyme or reason. The way they have stuff arranged is pretty convenient because there will be like an aisle where you see the spine and it's clearly like Jump titles. And then there'll be like another aisle where it'll be like Sunday titles and then Kodansha titles. For my taste, you always look for the comics that say Beam Comics because that publisher is very close to like Fantagraphics. It's the more iconoclastic artists and shit. So I'll always give every Beam comic that I see on a spine a glance. But they set it up in a way that once you're in a certain territory, like you know that it's time to start digging for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna add on to that real quick, Ed. A way you could check the temperature of a store and see like what's really good in there is check out the showcase. That will kind of inform you to what they're targeting, what they have, and kind of the lay of the land. And then another thing I look at is the patine or like the discoloration of the manga because that will tell you kind of like it's even if you look through like a long box, you look at the tops, and if it looks like dirty and old, that might be a stack of like something awesome, So it's just kind of the same thing.
Totally.
And then you can't always trust those covers, man. The cover might be super awesome, and then the inside's going to be trash when you get home. So you kind of have to build in room for duds, Right. And if you do that, you won't be like worrying about like high-end titles. You can find some cool stuff that way.
Right.
Totally. Well
and
said.
that's it. I mean, it's like you see, like you said, you look at the showcases, you're like, oh man, there's some gems in here. There's a gem in here that's $5,000, and I'm legitimately mean like $5,000 because it's a 1962 Astro Boy, and you're like, they've got gems here. I know they've got gems here, and then once you start pulling stuff, you're like, oh man, they do. And like Ed said, like the spines, and you see like the different brands, and you just know, And so it's like, but you got to put your homework in. You got to put the time in. It's like when I go digging for records, I got to dig. I got to be looking in boxes and nothing's. I mean, with records, nothing is really cataloged, but at least there things are kind of like in order and cataloged. So, but you still pull them out, cover, pull them out, cover. It's like, and they're not like comics where you're just kind of in the box like this. It's like pull out, put back, pull out. So
totally. Brian, one another fuck up that we made, man, was when I took that picture of that domu that was in the showcase at Akihabara Mandarake. That was after we recorded that second time with Japan Book Hunter when I was on the hunt for those Kaze Shinobu tiger masks because I thought I saw them out there. And then I saw that they have a fucking domu, like the big domu, and you could show that off in a moment if you got that thing.
I do got
but
it.
if you remember the photo, the domu is in front of a big black book that is kind of nondescript.
Yeah.
So Jeff Darrow bought that one, and it's like fuck, we could have scooped that shit up, but we didn't even think to ask what it was.
It, Ed? Was it?
It was an artist edition. It was a Dororo artist edition. So it's that Tezuka ninja dude with the fucking sword arms.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah,
it was an artist edition of that for like $120, man. And
okay, I know what you're talking about now.
And Jeff recognized the shape of the book is the same as there's an Ishita Nojo fucking artist edition that's at, so that's like a brand. So like we know whenever we see that, here, Brian, say something so that people can see that.
There we go. So there's the box. And then, as you know, Ed. So it's funny because I was hip to this for a while, and Ed got his last year. And, I didn't even think about it. I was like, I already have the Dark Horse. I have the Dark Horse 3 floppy, like the paperback joint.
Right.
I got the graphic novel version of the Dark Horse. I got the 2001 Dark Horse version. And then I have one from Japan, right? And I was like, I don't need this one. But I've been looking at this since I've been back. And man, it's a different book, man. It's a different beast when you get it this way. I would never promote people to have to buy artist editions just because it's like one of those things where I try to get people like books affordably, and give them recommendations. But I highly recommend this one. It's insane. Totally. It's a different level.
Yeah, man.
Can I say that Ed has dropped the ball or really fucked up more on this trip than any other trip?
and it was my best trip too. So like what does that tell you? But that Domu,
these are good regrets, guys. These are good regrets.
There's only 5,000 of them, man. So welcome to the Domu 5,000 Club. And
right.
Very specifically, it's not exactly an artist edition, but the pages are printed exactly to size and scale that the original artwork was drawn. So it's still set up for black and white reproduction. But
yeah, the best way to describe it, Ed, it's like looking over Otomo's shoulder while he's drawing.
Yeah. You see the line thicknesses and stuff. You see exactly all technique is still there, even though you don't see the whiteouts or whatever. But you could see like the dot screens that he uses and stuff. Yeah, say something so that people could see that piece.
Yep. Here we go, guys. So you'll notice like it's just 1-to-1 scale. Like Ed was saying, it's not an artist edition per se, but if you're getting the original plate print of the book or however they went about manufacturing it, 1-to-1. What I was surprised by in this book was that eye level. He uses a very eye level, like foot space, and he'll line it up with the page. And you spoke about this on the channel before, Ed, with Otomo, but it's really noticeable in this book where he's using the panel as your eye level.
Right.
It's wild.
Yeah. This is a call out to the people in the audience, man. I see that Keith Kamikawa is part of the Domu 5000 Club, man. So I'm just curious how many people have scooped that sucker up, because I do know that whenever I posted that picture, you ran out to Akihabara, Brian, and scooped that bitch up real quick. And then it was like the next morning where Japan Book Hunter is like, yo, Ed, where'd you see that Domu at, man? So he was...
Yeah, it's serious, man, because when you're out there, you're competing with the veterans. And so I was like, man, nah, I have to go now.
He's funny, man, because when we were out there last year with Jeff Darrow, we were looking at the showcase books, and Sean was like kind of going through titles. It's the first time we really hung out with him in a major level and stuff. And he's like, here's this, here's that, and you notice on the cardboard box of Domu, it's just the kanji or whatever. And yeah, say something so people can see it.
Yeah, so here it is.
Yeah. So that's what you're working with. And then Japan Book Hunter is like, oh, that's Domu Katsuhiro Otomo. And I went to Jeff like, holy fuck, that's gigantic. I never knew this existed. Like Sean was, it's not like he was underwhelmed, but it was just like whatever. And then I went to Jeff Darrow and was like, dude, can you imagine the old man's face drawn at that big size? Like, dude, what must that look like? And then Jeff Darrow's a big willy. So he's like, well, let's go find out. And he went in and was like, I'm going to buy that. And then we were checking it out. And then ever since then, like Sean's been scooping them shits the fuck up.
See?
And that trip too, like we were at Tokyo Comic-Con, and so I was like making some yens and stuff, and felt very comfortable buying a bunch of grails and shit. Like that trip was my grail trip for sure. And that was one of the big things I scooped up. But listen, man, we just got through day one. Day 2 of Tokyo was the day that we went to go see the Fist of the North Star. exhibit that morning. So, we had a full day that first day hitting all the Mandarakes and stuff, and we still haven't kicked it with B Moss yet. We didn't see you at all. Like, you guys were just coming back to town.
Or nobody.
Yeah, you guys were just coming back to town that day, and you guys were like, I'm just chilling. And we were like, yeah, of course, that makes perfect sense. You guys just came back from Kyoto or Osaka or something, and we were already dead, like from our day. And we knew we had Fist of the North Star to kind of bring us all together again. And, we set that up at like 11 a.m. So that gave everybody a chance to like get some breakfast and sort of take your time to go to a Roppongi to the, I forget the name of the place that we went to, but all of us at very disparate parts of Tokyo. At my hotel was Alika, his son, and Danica, so we were able to come as a posse. And then Brian and Rachel came, Scheme came, and then Aki Yanagi came, and Sean Japan Book Hunter. He's the guy that scooped up the tickets for us, which was kind of like a complicated thing. You had to go through the convenience store, and it was like a whole deal. So we go to that Fist of the North Star exhibit. It was on like the 50th floor of, remember that? It was like the 50th floor of whatever the fuck that building was, which is kind of crazy.
Right.
And it was easily one of the most amazing art shows I've ever experienced in my entire life. It was the biggest art show I probably have ever seen for any one single creator. There might have been legitimately 10% of Fist of the North Star was there. There was at least 300 pages, maybe even more. And we all operated at our own pace, I would say.
Just from being a curator and working in museums and doing museum studies, I can say that exhibition was set up extremely well. The lighting in there was incredible. The attention to detail we're not surprised by with a Japanese art show, but the quality of the work, learned so much. It was almost like going back to school ed for like a summer school lesson, It was incredible. Scheme, what did you think of it?
Man, like, I don't even want to say it was overwhelming because it wasn't not over. It was overwhelming in a good way. Like, I felt like you got so much of the artist, and that like I could have legitimately walked backwards and saw stuff and be like, wait, how did I miss that? Like, we came through this room. Like, it was just that much stuff, and to see it like up close and personal, like not on pages, but actually like the boards, like the detail, like you saw the attention to detail and everything that you might not have seen in print. And it just blew my mind. Like, I see what you're showing there, buddy. I see what you're showing there. I see what you're showing there.
Go ahead and turn yours over, Scheme. Turn yours around.
Oh, I see what you're showing there.
What is that? Like, I mean, I know it is from the comic, but it's just it's like a print or something?
Yeah, it's the print. It's a print. They had like a lot of really dope prints. So, but this was the one, and I remember B Moss being like, "Yo, everybody's going to grab that one."
Yeah. What they did was scan in the original. Sorry about my reflection, guys. So they scanned in the original art, so you'll be able to see here on the side the demarcation and all the little notes. So it's actually really cool to get these because they're scans of the original artwork. So when you see this. And I'll just take a moment here to kind of show some detail. They had about a dozen of these. And so you can see there, like the color of the tape, non-archival. And these were around, I would say, $15 a piece. So it's kind of like getting a page out of the book and you can study it. And you can and it's to scale. So it's the actual size. So these were actually pretty critical to get a few of these. This was important. It was scary to ship these back because I had them in my suitcase, but we got them here, so it's all good.
We'll call that another Eddie P fuck up because I didn't even see them shits.
Dude, yeah,
come on, Ed.
I'm gonna defend myself also because
he was lacking.
I wasn't lacking shit. I was the last one standing in that motherfucker, man.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
you guys all went to lunch. And I was like
Yo,
in that bitch for like 2.5, 3 hours, man.
yo, Ed, the case was interesting because in the case they had kind of like his setup for his studio, so like the tools
That was hard.
and some books,
Yeah,
you
what were some of
know.
those books? We got an episode. I'll probably put it up tomorrow, where we go through the exhibition catalog. So we kind of show off all
Cool.
the pages. And in the video, I couldn't exactly remember because I know there was like a couple corny books. Like there was the Frazetta books were
Yeah, they
there,
had the Frazettas,
and
and
then
that was, and then
and
they had like a it was some bullshit, and I
yeah,
don't want to be disrespectful to the artist, but it was like something not in the same vein.
I mean, it would be like Age of Apocalypse Marvel books or like some
Yeah, yeah,
some weird ass
something
shit.
weird.
Man, I was hoping that you would have remembered. Maybe I took a
No, no,
photo of
I
that.
have a photo of it, Ed. I have a
Yeah.
photo. I'll find the photo and tell you what it is.
Yeah, I'll have to look through that stuff too, because that's what I was doing. I took more than a
For you in
thousand
a second.
photographs because I didn't know what the exhibition catalog was going to give me. So with the 300 pages that were up there, I might have taken like 3 photos per page sometimes because I was taking a look at like close paste ups, and I was taking a look at just weird technique out of curiosity to see what it would look like in print because
Right.
the Viz reprints pretty much have caught up to most of the pages that they were showing off in that exhibit, and Jimmy and I elaborate on that exhibit much more in the video that we'll post in the morning, but
Um, Ed, so here we go. It was the Alex Ross Dynamite, fucking Alex Ross Dynamite art book. And like I said, no disrespect to Alex Ross or anything, but I'm just like, dude, that doesn't even like fit the narrative. So I really think they just was like, oh, American shit, you know?
you know,
So
one of the things that I did realize going through that exhibition was that Hara Tetsuo, the artist, absolutely pulls from like Neil Adams energy. Like he was looking at American comics. So I think that
yeah,
that's
you could
totally
totally
appropriate, totally on brand.
it's the same dynamic, Dutch angles and all that kind of stuff with
Yeah.
that visceral nib, you know.
Right. And that kind of double lighting on the faces and shit like that. Like
Yeah,
there's definitely a lot of Neil
exactly.
Adamsisms in there. A couple highlights
Hmm.
of that exhibit was that the complete first episode was there. All important moments from Fist of the North Star, all the most iconic moments and fights with the bad guys and all that stuff. Um, there was the complete one shot that preceded Fist of the North Star, where Kenshiro is like younger, and it's a different animal. That
Yeah, that
complete
was
story was
crazy.
there. Yeah,
I
that
was
was
shocked to see that, Ed.
unbelievable. The mangaka, a hit manga is so successful in Japan that selling originals is not a part of their business model whatsoever. It just ain't even in the game. So like they just have it. They just have all their stuff, and the most successful mangaka that have the biggest careers and stuff, they literally have apartments and shit where they just temperature control store their pages, and it's
Yeah.
clear that he took great care of those pages. And
Yeah, everything from the beginning, Ed, was as if he saw the future and was like preparing for this moment. That's
right,
how well archived those pages were. Yeah, you had some like staining and some discoloration, but the inks and the airbrushing and the duotone and the zipatone was all pristine. It was beautiful.
yeah, totally, man. And that was and the exhibition is to celebrate the 40th anniversary. So these pages are 4 decades old.
Right.
Man,
So
I mean, like literally, like I expect that from the Japanese. I don't think I've ever seen an exhibition or a showcase or anything that the Japanese have ever done that wasn't top notch and up to par. There's no slacking, and I feel like if it's not up to par, they're like, okay, yeah, we can't do this. If the source
totally,
materials aren't up to par, no, we can't do this.
Yeah.
So it was just like to be out there at that particular time to see that show was amazing.
yeah. I scheduled the trip very very specifically. I wanted to be there to see that, so I had to show up a couple days ahead of time for that, and then I needed to go to Comitia, which is that comic convention, which was in December 3rd. So I had to see both of those things and scheduled the trip accordingly. Now, like I said, elaborate further on the exhibition catalog and stuff in the video we'll post tomorrow. And to speak to your point scheme, just the way that culture works, one of the things that I love about going out there is that, you guys included, but all my friends and all the people that I hold dear and who I can get along with the most all have that type A personality where they're going to take care of business and even maybe over deliver. That is a common theme between myself and my friends.
Quality control.
And just like over deliver, show and prove. And even like baristas do that shit out there. Like, Brian, your girl went to like some like cafe where they like painted a fucking picture of your dog in marshmallows and whipped cream and chocolate syrup on her shit.
Right. I was about to say at the art there, to be an artist there is kind of like a standard.
Right.
Like you're an artist in any form you do. You could be a McDonald's employee. There's an art form to it, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, totally.
100%. 100%. I will say, Ed, on this one, this is the first thing that Ed has not dropped the ball on this whole trip. Scheduling the correct dates from this date to this date. I need to be there to soak it all in. Ed did not drop the ball on that scheduling.
Dude, Ed's the most timely person I've ever met, and that's why he has the success he has, is because he's so efficient and timely. It's professional. I love it.
Very true.
I will say that like when you indulge in that sort of headspace when you're out there, and I don't know when you guys have to like click back into American reality, but as soon like I flew United to come home, and it's all Americans who are doing the flight attending and shit, and so I get. This is the best way to describe it. When I get my car to go to the airport and go to Haneda, when the cabbie like takes me to Haneda and sees how many bags I have, he parks, he fucking gets out, he runs into the airport and comes out with a cart before I can even get out of the car. Like he doesn't have to do that. I didn't ask him to do that. Like I know how to stack my bags so that I could pull them with two hands, even though I have like three, but like when you get to the United airplane, everything's beautiful in the airport and stuff, super efficient. You get through security real easy, all of that. Man, when you get on that United airplane and it's some crusty old motherfuckers, man, who just don't want to be there, who might have like had their own jet lag and shit, staying overnight in Tokyo and are just pissed off. It's like, I'm still technically in Japan, but on this plane, I'm in America.
Yeah.
It's all back.
I didn't realize I was getting frustrated. I was like irritable coming back. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was so disoriented because I was there for a month,
right?
Maybe a little longer. And so I was really like ready to check somebody. Like I was like, felt like a type of way.
Welcome to my world. And that's what I've been dealing with forever. Like legitimately, the minute I like I'll either fly American or I'll fly Japan Air, and they're partners.
Yeah.
So when I fly Japan Air, it's always Japanese flight attendants.
Uh-huh.
So I still feel good until I land in LAX.
Right.
Right.
And then the minute I'm in LAX, I'm like, shit. Now I got to go back to Philly, and I'm annoyed because I'm seeing like Americans and like the level,
bro.
Yeah, like the level of service and customer service is shitty, and I mean, I've got priority status. I'm in the airport lounges. I'm like, but it's still the level of customer service is not what it is in Japan, right?
Yeah,
and this
crazy that you pay for better service to have in America, and it's like not even meeting the standard of regular
bottom line in Japan, right? So, but like at least with this trip though, when I came back, I was still on the high because I came to LAX and I had to do a party Thanksgiving Eve in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I knew I was going to see my favorite record dealers, so I was still on the high of digging,
Right.
But it wasn't until I got home that I was like, "Shit, America, we're back."
Here's how crazy it was, man. So I told you about that guy, the Japan cab guy running into the airport to scoop up the little cart and all that stuff. When I'm waiting for my bags, back home in Pittsburgh after about 26 hours of travel because I had a layover in Chicago, and then you come back and you're in Pittsburgh on top of all the other stuff. Plus, like, when it's the last day in Japan, we usually fly. It's a little bit later. It's like when I flew out, it was 6:30 at night, and I just go to the airport. Like, I don't do anything because like I shower and I just go to the airport because I'm not trying to get sweaty and be nasty on the airplane for 13 hours. Like, I just am trying to be as clean as possible, as chill, because I'm gonna be on this fucking in this little tin can in the sky for so long and already feel nasty. Like, I don't want to add to that stuff. So when I'm waiting for my baggage and shit in Pittsburgh, like I get a car there as well to take me home, because you're just a zombie, dude. There's no way you could responsibly fucking drive a car.
Nah, man.
And the cabbie or whatever you want to call him, and the person from the car service is like, you got 20 minutes or else I have to like cancel the trip. And I'm like, motherfucker, man. Like, I just traveled 26 hours. I'm here, man. I'm just waiting for my bags to come down. Like, please don't leave. Like why do I have to be begging you on this
to do your job?
Fucking text, man?
I'm begging you to do your job to what you're getting paid for. You already got my credit card information,
Right.
So the bill is good. It's good.
Yeah.
Just sit there and wait. Like, just chill out.
Yeah, just totally adding anxiety to that like very last moment. And it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm home. I get it. And it's even like small things too, where it's like you got to check your wallet a little bit more and stuff. Like when I'm in Tokyo, like I'll have all my yen and shit like in the wallet and not even trip about it, like it's just right there. Like, I know nothing's going to happen, but like when you're back in the States and stuff, like with your bag and all that stuff, like, you just know that you got to keep your eyes on it at all times. It's such a different mentality. It's sort of a bummer. But let's get back to fucking day 2. We hit the exhibit. Like, all you guys are going off to take a nap afterwards because I'm in there too long and shit. And then I finally come out, and then I think it's you, Scheme, that makes the joke like, damn, Ed, you came out a little early. We thought you were going to be in there even longer after 3 hours or something. And it was funny because like Sean kept coming back and he's like, yeah, everybody's just going to run at their own pace or whatever. Like, I think 100% of everybody except Aki, to his credit, he was kicking it with me. Everybody's patience ran out.
But I expect that with you though. Like, that was definitely your lane. Fist of the North Star was your lane. I expected you to be in there a long time.
Yeah. So we hit that. Now, that was one of those things where that night you had your party in Asakusa, so we had to break off. But that was a big day for us because it's like we have the Fist of the North Star thing happening, and then we have a little bit of in between time. It's the first time we're kicking it with Brian and Rachel, so we're gonna sort of reconvene and debrief and all that kind of stuff. So we're with Japan Book Hunter and we're with Aki, and I always forget that like there's a dynamic there that's very interesting. It's two different mentalities, and after that, we were at that exhibit for a long time. Everybody's hungry, so it's like, let's go get lunch. But what we had planned that night was we had scheduled some fucking Jiro Dreams of Sushi shit happening. And we had, you schedule that stuff, and that's all very precise, and you don't show up, you get fucked and all that kind of stuff. Like, man, there's got to be so much anxiety out there because it's like so detail oriented. And that's when we go to, because there's so many of us in our posse that and so many of the restaurants, like the Jiro restaurant is like 8 people or something. Like there's
Right.
almost nobody could fit in that place. So like we max out these rooms. So Aki and Sean were like trying to figure out like where could we go where we could all sit pretty easily, blah blah blah. And they came up with a place. And I would say for everything that we said about efficiency and all of that, if you guys remember,
Bro, when it falls apart hard. It's like
Describe it.
9/11. It's like disastrous. It's like really bad.
Now Scheme had a
And then it
party
was
that
even
night.
like overcharged too, and they waxed us, man. I feel that was the first time we got hustled in Japan. We were tossing up,
That
and
was
it
also
was
like,
hard.
I feel like that was a tourist place as well. Although it was locals in there, it was more of a touristy type of.
Well, Scheme, you were recognized there. Somebody was like, "Yo, Scheme, brother." Like,
Yeah, which is crazy.
Oh, shut up, dude. Dude, you know you got the chops, man. You know you got clout out there.
But yeah, like that was definitely like in the touristy area, So I kind of expect that. That's why I only eat where the locals eat, the mom and pop spots because it's fair. There it's like they're definitely gonna tax you.
Yeah,
Right.
dude, it was outrageous.
But it's all good.
And it was a
It's
bit
all
of a
good.
race.
It was a good group thing,
We
Right.
at least got to get off our feet for a while. Like that. Maybe that's what we paid for. We paid for the opportunity to sit down for 2 hours. Something
Yeah, we
like
sat
that.
for a while. Like,
And Scheme
I
was
think we got half the food.
right.
That's how it felt.
Yeah, I feel like your girl was too nice because she was like being quiet about not getting anything, and we all ate our stuff, and like none of her shit came, and nobody noticed.
Right.
Something like that happened, man. But like but then it took us so long to get that lunch, and I'm whispering to you guys, I'm like, yo, we're getting sushi in an hour. Like, we can't get full. So I think the trick was like everybody kind of ate their protein, but like nobody ate the rice. But then
Right.
but like Scheme's issue was that you had that party that you had to play that night, man. So like it's like just describe what your strategy was.
so, I was going to kick it with you guys for a little bit, eat, and then like head back to the crib, take that disco nap, and then get up because I knew it was going to be a long night. Like that party was from 9 to 5 in the morning, and we didn't leave till 6 in the morning. So I knew I needed to be fresh, and it was like, okay, let me go and get this nap in. And I legitimately got like an hour nap in, and it was like, okay, cool, we're gonna party. I'm waiting for B Moss to show up, and no B Moss. Like,
Yes.
Yeah. That was hilarious
Yes.
because it was when I first met Scheme, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm gonna come out tonight." Like, I was always game for a party, and then Scheme left, and I was like, "You ain't going to that party." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He was like, "Dude, it goes from like 11 to like 6 a.m. The trains don't run, so you're gonna be out all night." I was like, "Wait, I don't know that kind of party. Like, I'm familiar with stuff here, but it's like." I was so hurt. I was like, man, I really wanted to go. Scheme, can you talk about like the difference between like DJing and like that party that night versus something in America, like obviously like Philly, Chicago, doing stuff there is probably completely different because of like just the scene. So real quick, is there a difference?
yeah. Well, first of all, in Japan, parties are 10 to 5 in the morning, 10 to 4 in the morning, and the train stops running at midnight. So everyone's just out at the clubs. People don't really catch taxi cabs because cabs are expensive, right? So parties are always great because, once you're out, the whole night. The scene wise and musically, it's like I'm playing the same music, but I'm better at it in Japan because the appreciation for the music is different. Culturally, it's different, and it's been that way since the 1970s. They just have a greater appreciation for art, music, culture than Americans have. So when I go there, it's like it's a feeling of being like you feel like this is their music in a sense, and this is their culture in a sense because they appreciate so much more than how we're appreciating it. So like you go, everyone's happy, no one's angry. You go to party,
Ain't nobody stepping on somebody's shoes.
Right. If someone's drunk and they're passed out on a chair, no one's bothering them. Like you can leave your lady can leave her Louis Vuitton bag on the side and no one's going to bother it or steal it because no one steals. Like it's like taboo. Right. You don't steal. So just culturally and everything, it's so much different over there. And I love it. I always just feel that's why I don't have a problem staying up till 6 o'clock in the morning during parties because I know at the end of 6 o'clock, all of the DJs are going to go get ramen together. And then everybody's going to catch the train and go their separate ways. But it's like a family thing.
I feel I missed out, man. I really do. Like I know it's hard because it's like I was so excited that I was still tired that first half of the trip. But I really feel like I missed out. So next time I'm gonna have to make a point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and it's hard. Like I said, I know it's hard. But see, what it is next time I'll make sure it's a night that I'm in Shibuya. So this way, if you're staying like where Ed's staying around the area, it's an easy go-to. And then this way you can leave at 2 o'clock in the morning and be like, all right, I can catch a cab. It's like a 10-minute ride back, So yeah, but it's just amazing. I just love being out all hours of the night. And it's, when I do my New York parties or Philly or Chicago, like New York is 4 a.m. Or New York's 4 a.m, Philly's 2 o'clock, Chicago's 2 o'clock, some 3 o'clock. But by 1 o'clock in the States, I'm like, I'm ready to go home.
Right. That's what I was about to say. You're done by 1, 2, especially here in the Midwest, So
yeah, but Japan, I'm like, oh man. Because Japan, I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's ramen at the end of the tunnel.
Scheme, man, I gotta give you props for dropping some game, dude, on Kamakura Ramen. Like once you drop the science, I ate there 5-6 times, and that became my go-to lunch. Real quick, I gotta give shouts. I don't know if you guys are checking out the chat, but Aki Yanagi has popped up in the chat. I'm not sure what time it is in Tokyo, but he says that he's coming to the party next time Scheme Richards is in town.
That's right.
And that he misses us already, man. So shouts to Uncle Aki Sensei. The dude set us up with that shoot interview with Yutaka Minoa that we have put up on the channel. To my taste, the creator of Ninja Scroll, and helped set us up with like an office space. He did the translation for that, man. Helped set up a whole bunch of stuff every time we went out there, man. So shouts to Aki Sensei. I can't wait to see him again. He is another brother from another mother that we have out there. And I don't know that I don't think. Yeah, I guess you kicked it with him a very little bit, Scheme.
Yeah.
Super
good dude.
Cool.
Good dude.
He translates Marvel comics. So the Afro Samurai dude Takashi Okazaki, he did a Star Wars comic, and Aki did the translation for that. And I believe he does the translation the other way of also, where like he takes the American comic and turns it to Japanese. I think probably just coming hot off the heels of Tokyo Comic Con, which was like this past weekend. I think so. So like I'm sure he's cold chilling, but. So
Kamakura,
dude, such good stuff. And we had to break off, and we went and did our sushi thing that night. That's how we debriefed, and it was a good sushi night. Also, by the way, Aki set up the sushi thing for us, because like that's once again, like the way you said, Scheme, like go where the locals eat. Like there are places that you just. A gaijin can't even order because like there's not even numbers, like the numbers are in some Japanese character and shit like that. So like that's letting you know that you're kind of not welcome there by yourself. And it's not like, it's not really racism. It's like they're speedy, man. So like they want people who could just order and not, they don't want to have to tiptoe and dance around your bullshit. So it's all good if you,
which Americans do well.
Americans
do well.
So it's cool when you show up with like a native speaker and stuff who could just like handle all that, and then the doors are open for everything, which is super 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 sweet. And Aki was super gracious and hooked us up with that shit. So that's day 2. We did a couple other little things, man. I forget what we did, Brian, but it was more like it was the first time I saw you, Brian, for the trip, man. So we were kind of just kicking it that way, and then that's when the chicks were planning, they were co-conspiring and stuff, and we're like, we're going to go see Mini Pigs tomorrow, god damn it, fuck you guys and your gay comic book shit. Right. So then that freed Brian up so that we once again, man, connected at Super Potato. Alika and his son are still in the mixture and all that stuff, so we all converged on Super Potato the next day. And then that's when it became the legitimate Neo Geo quest, but also Brian had his eyeballs on some video game stuff. And then Alika, after having done a day of surveying the scene, Alika was like, all right, man, I'm in buy-in mode and I'm in a video game mentality right now, man. So that's when we went to Akihabara, did the Super Potato thing, went to a couple of those other little spots, which... Man, I wish Alika was out there longer because me and Brian, like, we found more of those other spots later on the trip. Mm-hmm. And then we went to what I guess would be Moss. It's like, it's your Super Potato, dude. Like, you own it now. That's the one in Ikebukuro.
Yeah,
and,
they know me now.
And
it's official.
How about you tell the story?
Yeah, so we're in there. Who is it? Me, Scheme, and Ed.
Yeah, and Alika and his son, and you know what's funny? I'm gonna pull down the screen on the OBS because I think it's apropos. You see Brian in the middle there on the screen, and Scheme is the devil on one shoulder. And then it turned out that Ed was the devil on the other shoulder.
Dude.
So you tell the story, B. Moss.
Yeah, so the first time we went in there, the previous trip, I got the Neo Geo. Now I was able to get that for a steal. It would end up being like 350,000 yen or whatever. So basically like translation of $350, but with adjustment, I got it for like probably like 225, which is like insane. And this system would have been considered like in poor condition, which means like vanity scratches.
Right, and they do it up fresh. Like they're honest. They're like, this is damaged, and you're like, well, what does that mean? And then he flips it over, and it was just like some scuff marks on it, and it's just like, it's literally just like when you go to get like a refrigerator or something, and there's like the scratch and dent shits, and like a scratch and dent can take $500 off the cost of your fridge or your like your dishwasher or something like that, and that's how they treat those goods. That does not happen in the States when it comes to retro game consoles and shit.
No, they'll sell you like a beat up, smoke infested, roach infested system, and it will be like they'll be like $200 for a Super Nintendo. I'm like, you guys didn't even clean it. You literally took out the trash and put it on the shelf.
Right.
So
yeah, totally.
We're there, and we're like, actually, I think the intention when we went there, because I was like, yo, Scheme, I got Neo Geo from here, so let's go back and check it out. So we get there, and then, but this time I'm looking for like Neo Geo, Samurai, and Samurai Showdown in the States, Samurai Spirits in Japan, because that's my favorite series, because it's like, you know, that, and Metal Slug, you know, a few others for Neo Geo. And inside the case, they have the last published Neo Geo game, Samurai Spirits 5 Special. Now, the thing about this game, not only is it elusive, like you're not going to find it, so you have to buy it off the internet. And if anyone knows about the internet Neo Geo games, don't even bother, because it's going to be bootleg or switched out. It's so suspicious, and you're talking a lot of money for a game. Like, still, even though some of them are affordable, like you can get some of like the more pervasive games, you know, like Samurai Spirits 2, you can get that for like $40-$50. But to enter the game in the real way, like Neo Geo collecting, you're spending hundreds at least. So in this case, they have this damn game, and obviously we know where this goes because, you know, it's in my hand. So Ed's on one side, and then Scheme's on the other. And then I realized Scheme's name has a double meaning. Because he goes, Brian, you know you want that. And I was like, it's not a matter of wanting it. It's a matter of being responsible.
You still had 2.5 weeks of trip.
Right.
Almost 3, really.
Right. And this is the first time I'm out with the boys,
right?
Meaning like without Rachel, because just for transparency, I'm an artist, like in the real sense. Like I can't direction any of that stuff. Like I'm useless to like the normal world. I can only art now, right? So I'm not going to use a train and figure it out. It's like, no, you got to take me to there and then point me in the right direction. So Scheme's like, yo, Brian, you have to think about it. You're never going to see it again. And what's the big deal? You just have to pay X amount of dollars every month to like afford it. And I'm like, man, you know what? I think Scheme is right.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yo, literally, I got the angel and the devil on my shoulder. Ed was on one side, but I think they were co-conspiring because obviously I ended up walking out with the game. And like, let me tell you, I'm like so glad I got this just because of like the history of it. Just if anyone knows, Samurai Spirits 5 came out. It was considered like a rushed job. So then they came out with 5 Special, Now 5 Special is where they fixed everything and made the better game. Now that was the last published Neo Geo game. Now post this game, when they came out the Samurai Spirits collection, they came out with Samurai Spirits 5 Perfect, which was they fixed everything. It was like the lost game. But unbeknownst to most people, Special is still considered the better one because they took out more content for Perfect. Perfect isn't available on a Neo Geo card. It's in a collection. You can download it.
Right.
So this is it. Like if you are getting Neo Geo and you're Samurai Spirits fan, this is it. Like this is the buck stops here basically. So it's good to have the final game, and I'm able to backtrack now to fill out my collection to exactly what I want.
Totally.
And who do you have to thank for that?
Well, depending if Rachel can hear me or not, but thank you, boys. Steve, thank you so much.
so just for context, man, this game, you know, the Neo Geo, we considered like long dead, right? Like into the 90s, really. But
yeah, it was dead. It was dead to us in the States by like mid to late 90s. Yeah, totally.
And it was just holding on. Like I knew 0 people that had that shit. You know, it was who knows who the fuck had those things, man. But this game was pressed December 11th, 2003. So that's a wild thought. And already I know, man, just from like the retro stores in town and stuff. I was chatting with those dudes, just getting my little what the fuck is the wireless GameCube, the
Wavebirds.
The Wavebird, man. I was getting a Wavebird and just like kind of talking that stuff, man. And already like you could flip that today for 500 more than you paid. Right. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing.
So
with the game.
Yeah, so in context, like this game is Magical Chase for the PC Engine. This game is Stadium League or whatever the fuck that NES joint is. You know, it's like it's the rarest one. And you scooped it the fuck up. And so
how many people do you know with that?
Right.
Dude. No one. Like exactly. This game is not. I would be surprised if there's another copy in America. Obviously there is, but I went on eBay to like see, like to check the temperature, and obviously I got it below market value, like the cost because of how weak the yen is. So the game, I think on eBay it's selling any minimum like $2,500 up to like $4,000. Obviously I'm keeping my copy, but yeah, it's one of those things where this game is low print run. It's not going to happen. There's going to be the market's flooded with bootlegs. So this is like the one copy we can authenticate here now. It's like Ed was there, Scheme was there. And the rest is history. So yeah, I actually came home, Scheme, and paid my credit card immediately to cleanse my like filth. Like
right.
Before we stepped foot out of that video game store, I swear to God, Scheme Richards turned into like a Tony Soprano kind of character, and like grabbed us by the lapels and put the finger out and was like, listen, you do not tell that guy's wife a thing like that. Like, you don't say nothing to that man's wife. We don't discuss this transaction after we get out of here. And, we were in that mentality, but it was a good thing to say. It was a good thing to say because, like, we know the deal, and like, it is the honeymoon stage, right? But you don't want to press your luck.
Right.
You don't want to push it too much.
Yeah, it's like you have to remember, I grew up like poor, so to buy something like this, it's like committing a sin,
Right.
And I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. But you have to remember, like, for the market for things, this is why it's important actually to like, I have the ability to buy things. I'm like really good at like a tastemaker, curating, those kind of things. Like I have the eye, but I always do it on such a low level. Because it's like you don't want to like get into competing and chasing like the addiction part of it.
Right.
But with this one, it was one of those things where it was a special moment being there with you guys, even like knowing I wanted this and I've been looking for it. So because I only buy games in like real life, so I don't buy them off the internet because it's one of those things where it's like you want the experience. You also want to make sure it's authentic. Return policies are important in this case. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
the
I'm
thrill of the
definitely
hunt is the thrill of the hunt is part of the juice.
totally
Right.
100%.
Yo, and honestly, if we would have been in America and you would have saw it, I don't think I would have pressed you like that. Because I think it would have been one of those things where it's like, well, if one's in America, it might be two in America.
Right.
Right. It's America. But like being in Japan, the country of origin, is just something about buying something from the country of origin or the artist who created it or, that source.
Yeah.
So like a no-brainer. Like if you would have left and came back home, you would have been
Dude,
kicking yourself.
dude, I would have been in the position Ed was talking about earlier with the pages. It's like, man, like because by missing out, a lot of times is when it's like you have it will eat away at you. It's like that earworm, and it just won't go away. You're like, I had this opportunity,
Yeah.
and I messed up.
And that's not a two-time opportunity right there. That's a one-time
Dude,
for that
no.
price.
Yeah, and it's one of those things with like the market with Neo Geo. Like it's a thing I've wanted for a very long time, because here in America it was so expensive. And even trying to get games, we're in the Midwest, so trying to get games from the coast is impossible. If we were in San Francisco, Seattle, even hell, like Alika has more access to Neo Geo than we do here in the States.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
So
Japanese
it's like,
community out there.
right, exactly. So it's serious, man. If you want to like really get things you love, get them when you see them, especially if you're in Japan, because like you were saying, the origins are so important too. And it's better to support that system and where that system comes from, that idea versus like, flipping stuff out of a trunk of a car here in the States type thing.
Right.
This is a situation where it's too bad that Alika's not here, because things were done that day a little bit out of order for Alika's sake, because he was looking at that chibi Splatterhouse Famicom game, and they had only one copy, and it was in a case and stuff, and he wanted it, so he went to like get it to take out and shit, and it was not a cheap game. And they disclose, oh, damaged, the manual is a little messed up. So I'm like, yo, man, you might be able to get a deal on that. And Alika, this is after you grabbed the Neo Geo game, right? So like the proprietor was already, his dick was hard, because he just made some ends that day. He made money for the week that day already. And Alika's like, yeah, that manual's a little damaged. Like he didn't care, man. It was just like Alika is a store owner, man, so he knows how the game is played and shit. So he was flexing those chops a bit, and then the guy was like, nah, no deal. And then the guy was like doing some kind of number crunching or looking at the computer, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, the price is different, and like quoted a bigger price than the price tag. And I was like, I jumped in like, it wasn't even my business. And I'm like, fuck that. Like, man, Alika, don't do that shit, man. Because we saw it cheaper elsewhere, And
that's that herb shit, dude. That's that corny shit where you sit there and like look up the amount online. It's like, dude, are you running a store or what is this? Like, I hate when people do that. That's so fucking lame.
Yeah,
man.
no, that was punk shit. But like,
Yeah.
but the dude's dick was already hard, man, because he just made some ends already, and he was like, no, I'm gonna fucking juice these gaijins to the fullest. So he I don't think he saw that Splatterhouse, because I sort of, he got the Famicom and was like, man, I need some software for this thing, and I told him about that. So that was in his mind, and then kind of like when you guys were done, like he's like, fuck, I'll see if they have that Splatterhouse, and then the dude tried to juice him.
Well, the thing that was special about that Splatterhouse Chibi game, his copy that he wanted had these promotion stickers in it.
Yeah.
So it was like complete with the stickers, which is dope. I've never even heard of that or saw that. I have the cart because we saw it later, Ed.
Yeah.
And I bought my cart, I think, for like 1,700, and then it even went up then. I think it was at like 44,000.
Exactly. No.
Yeah.
Like 4,400. It was like 40
Yeah.
bucks rather than 15
Yeah, but
bucks.
right, exactly. Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you.
totally.
Which is like insane. That was just a markup from a year later.
So but it was fruitful, right? Like no Neo Geo for Scheme, but Scheme made the deal with Alika to get that Neo Geo, and that bore fruit.
And that was the day I made it. When we didn't see it there was the day that I was like, yo, as soon as we get back, I'll PayPal you the money.
Sick.
Yo, Scheme, you don't know this yet, but I got you a present while we were there.
Woo!
I'll be mailing it to you.
My man.
Because I was going to tell you, I was like, now you got to buy a Neo Geo. You got a game now. So,
I'm on it.
so I'll send that to you when I send you the package out, bro.
Bro, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
So we were in that town of Ikebukuro, and there's a lot of dope stuff to do there, but it was already a day. We were doing mad digging. It was time to get a little lunch, and we decided to go to that Sky Mall place that has like the Gashapon Museum and like all those like Pokemon cafes and stuff. But there's like a food court, it's a mall. There's a big mall culture out there, and we got some Chinese food at the Sky Mall or Sun Mall or whatever the fuck it was called. But we had other plans that night, so we had to get that food in quick because we were gonna go catch Godzilla -1 at the Toho Theater. That was something that Scheme we were talking about, like as we were kicking it a couple days before, because like you definitely had ends on checking it out, and I'm like, how fucking dope would it be to see it at the theater with the big Godzilla at the top of the joint? Like that just felt essential.
Yeah, it's like I've been fortunate enough over the years that every time there's something dropping, I'm always there at the right time. Like I saw Shin Godzilla there, I saw Shin Ultraman there, I saw the 25th or whatever it was anniversary of Akira in 35 millimeter in Japan. Like I'm always there at the right time when something is premiering or there's a special occasion. I was at the Lupin anniversary where they took over the Islington Mall, where it's like the whole floor was just like Lupin. If you wanted a suit done by a tailor to look like Lupin, the tailor was there. There was like Lupin whiskey. You wanted plates, you wanted glasses. The Lupin burger cafe. Like I'm just always there at the right time. So seeing Godzilla there at the theater with the giant Godzilla with the homies,
it had to happen.
And not fall asleep like some people did.
Oh, we'll build to that. We'll build to that, man. Because like
that was a moment.
We had already established, man. We're 2 hours into this chat. Like it's just 3 days. So like we're just on our third day, really, of like the real shit. Like Brian was doing, like the honeymoon stuff, man. But this is now Eddie P's in town, and Eddie P's gonna work you, and you're gonna be on your fucking feet from the second that you wake up to the second that you go to bed, and just to go from the Super Potato to the mall was a little bit of a walk, and it's like, let's get the 5:20 showing because we're all falling out, like we're all fallen soldiers. We just been in town for a minute, so we're all jet lagged as shit. We're all running around like fucking maniacs. We are in Ikebukuro. The chicks are, you guessed it, Harajuku.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see the joint in it's in Shinjuku. So we're at different parts of town, the dudes and the chicks. And so it's like, all right, man, let's go. Like, let's race to the fucking theater.
And we were racing.
Yeah, totally. Like me and Scheme were leading the charge, and then Brian and Alika are like sightseeing and shit behind us. and then it was a point of pride in a way, because it's like me and Scheme were like, dude, we got to beat the broads. We got to beat the broads to the thing, man. We're fucking dudes,
Yeah.
But in all fairness, they were closer. But it became a thing of like, okay, like because like we don't know what it is, man. The first people who get there just get the tickets, and we'll pay you back. It's all good. And the chicks were there first, and they got the tickets, but because it was getting a little bit late, the tickets were like we couldn't sit together. We were all spread out except Brian and Rachel were able to sit next to each other, and I was in Brian and Rachel's row, but there was like two dudes in between.
Right.
But where I was, I could put eyes on everybody except probably like Danica and maybe one other person was behind me. but I was able to put eyes on everybody. And then, it's the first time that we're sitting in a comfy chair that day. It's fucking pitch darkness. And maybe when you guys could pick up from there.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there. So I have this issue, everyone. Like, I have the opposite schedule of the rest of the world. So if I'm awake, I'm gonna be tired. But while all y'all are sleeping, I'm the dude up drawing and working. So I'm sitting there in the movie theater. I don't understand Japanese, so I'm trying to figure out this story. And so my brain's working overtime. And I think I had a beer. And so I don't think much of it. I doze off for just a second. Probably man, Schem's probably going to exaggerate, but I feel like I was only asleep for 1 second. And Rachel woke me up. Because what happened is I snored and it was, I didn't think anyone heard it because Rachel just nudged me oh, wake up. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So obviously I was a mark because we go out, after the movie. I think we're going to talk about the movie. I was going to be man, the special effects. I was crying, all this. Scheme goes, man, we all heard you back there snoring. And I was that's bullshit, dude. I was this movie theater is dark, so you would have to know me. You have to know my voice.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You say you were out for a second. Before you start snoring, you're already asleep for 5 minutes. The snoring starts after. So you were out for, we're going to just say you were out for 7 minutes. We're just going to call it 7 minutes of the film.
And so I didn't realize, but obviously that is a super taboo because everyone from our group has had somebody beside them with a reaction to me snoring. And I was just man, and it's I'm a big guy. So they're going to know it's me. They're is that motherfucker right there?
So we're at my vantage point. I could see Alika in front of me to the right, and then below him, probably at the front of our aisle, is Scheme, and I could see him down there. I'm not sure where the sun is. And then Brian and Rachel are to the right of me with these two dudes and right to the side of me. You did not snore for 1 second. It was 30 seconds. And what happened, Rachel, she didn't nudge you at first. It was the first and then I was was that an engine in the movie? It seems out of place. And then it's when the Japanese people start laughing, where I'm oh no, one of us fell out. And when we were going to the theater, in my mind, knowing what we just did this past single day, but let alone the past 3 days, I was somebody's gonna fall out. And I will be 1,000% honest. While I was watching that movie, I was sitting there like this. I was dying. I didn't fall out. Man, I can't sleep with anybody around me, man. It would be impossible. But I was so cozy, and if I was by myself, I could have. So then heard your little snore, and then I kind of nudged forward to just exactly see, because I'm it sounds like Brian's voice maybe, and then you were fully out, and then Rachel is just she was just like that, and then she, I feel she nudged you after I looked,
right,
and she was just gonna let you kind of do your thing, but then I think it was at that point, because I didn't have a grimace or nothing. I was smiling because the Japanese people were laughing and shit, and it's not taboo. I don't think it was I think it's a strong word, especially in the context of Japan, because of what taboo is to them,
Right. Yeah.
But they noticed for sure. But it was a 2 second thing, and it was cute. It was sweet. It was nothing to be embarrassed about. But there was no doubt that somebody was going to pass out just from the rigors of the manga quest,
Right.
Yeah.
And the part about it is just I was man, they could have been. There was 100 something people in that theater. I'm man, how y'all know it was me? That's like, let's go back.
It's the nucleus, man. Like the sound got to come from somewhere. It ain't no speaker that shit was coming from. But that was sweet shit, and it was so cool to see that flick there. I still haven't seen it in the States yet. That's sort of on the list, man. I'm gonna check that out in the theater as soon as possible. But
yeah, that movie, that's worth that. Like seeing it there was amazing. I'm sure seeing it here is going to be amazing. But we all love physical product, and that's something that when this comes out on Blu-ray, it's a must-have.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah,
like, and it's rare that I'm really buying new release stuff on Blu-ray like that. But like, this is definitely a must-have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing people say stuff that that this is better than Shin Godzilla. And I don't know about that, man. I call kayfabe on that. Like maybe I got to see it in English or you know with subtitles so that I know like the nuance. But I feel like visually you could get most of it. I still think Shin Godzilla has more imagination to it.
I personally prefer Shin, but we saw it in Japanese, so I do need to take a second take. But yeah man, nah, Shin gets busy, man. It's serious.
But you guys saw Shin in America, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then no, sorry. -1 is better because you saw it in the country. I don't care what you say. You saw it in the country, so that eclipses everything.
The experience.
You didn't see it in the Toho theater,
right?
Like you saw it in English dub. Mm-hmm. Yeah, nah. -1. Like no. Come on, guys.
So this is pretty much getting close to wrapping up the scheme portion of the travels. Like I think we had one other day of kicking it before you split, and that was more like cultural day type shit.
So we actually went to so we went to Sean's place.
Right. That was Sunday. So yeah, right. That was like a Friday, and then the first time we went to Sean's place, like you
right.
sort of set that up.
Yeah, so we went to Sean's place, and I grabbed a few things, which one you showed on the last show.
We're gonna record that as an episode this coming Wednesday, man. That's the Takao Saito Go-Go 13 like artist edition. I still haven't cracked mine out of the bag yet.
Oh really? Yeah, I did. It just actually a box just came in from Japan today from Sean. Like it got delivered like literally like 10 minutes before we started filming the show. So I was happy about that. So got that. And then
that was a fun one because that was like he pulled that out at the very end of the day and was just like, yeah, man, this came out and so and was showing off, and you were like, put that on my pile too, man.
Right.
Another one you got, and I saw somebody in the chat room mention that they got a popcorn one from Japan Book Hunter. That's something that you scooped up from him.
Right, yeah. So I got the popcorn one. I think I only need like 2 more. Let's see if I can get Is
that issue 1?
That's issue 1. No, this is 3 because I have 1 already.
Right.
So I need this is 3 with the gorilla on the back and then Iron Man on the front.
That's that 70s Kirby too.
So that was that. And then you made sure I got this because when you showed me this, you were like, you need that. So this is, let's see.
Oh yeah, those are the original tankobons of Ryu, the strongest man on Earth, man.
Yeah,
right. So you were like, you need this.
Yeah, that's serious.
So like, just the scenes in there were crazy, you know. And then of course, more about the covers.
Look at that with the arrow, burying no leads.
So I grabbed a bunch of those joints. You know, like Sean's just got the gems. Like he's just got gems upon gems upon gems.
Sean, I mean, Scheme, I would say that those books that you've been curating and collecting, I would say the cover meets the quality of the art because we were looking them up as, you know, we were buying them, and the artwork's just as great as the covers.
Really? Okay.
There's no bids when you get into that 70s stuff you got.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like I feel like that's the sweet spot too. That like that late 60s, early 70s. Like I feel like that's the sweet spot of those books. And like I mean, honestly, I'm like, man, I don't even want to open them. I just want to like have them displayed somewhere.
Yeah, I
Like,
feel you.
you know, because they're the coloring, the art, everything is just so top notch. Like the size of the books, they're just so on point, and they're actually on par because I buy a lot of French pulps that's like that as well,
Hmm.
which are just like crazy covers and like, but like the Japanese just do something so right and so different than everybody else. So
Yeah, it's advanced. It's like that stuff looks like it was made yesterday. It's like
right,
alternative underground comics. Like but it's there for days, and it was made 40 years ago. So
exactly,
it just shows you how behind we are.
It's very
yeah,
fearless. It's very fearless artwork. The way our culture is here and now is like, like the corny like little kids and shit. Like to express a dark idea would suggest that you are promoting a dark idea, or that you are celebrating a dark idea. And the Japanese culture is just not that way, man. It's like we are very respectful, courteous people, but you can express your darkest thoughts or whatever kind of stuff that you have inside your brain, and like we do not look at you as less than, or we do not mark that as a strike against you as a person because you're expressing, some sort of dark. It's actually
Right.
it's what art is. Like
right.
these people in the States are antithetical to what art really is. Like they're checking boxes off, and it has to like fit into their cultural ideals and stuff. And if it doesn't, like they'll go so far as to say you're a Nazi, or some
Right.
shit
Right.
like that.
Well, the weird thing with manga and anime, because the interesting thing about this group right here right now is that Ed and I cut from the same cloth, but Scheme, you have some years on us, so it's interesting because my generation going to where I didn't go to art school, so I'm like the alternative to like the art school students. They weren't into manga and anime, like me, or not into it at all. They would still associate it with like what is hentai, not even like tasteful stuff, and they would just put everything into that one box. And I was just always like, man, that's so confusing to me because even as a kid, I knew the range of manga and the variations of it. And so there's just so much more freedom, Ed, like going back to how we perceive censorship or thoughts on creativity and what that looks like. So the Japanese, just their freedom that they have to express is beating us by centuries.
Right.
Totally. There's too much like puritanical kind of chilling effect. Where like honestly, the reason I did Red Room was to just put something on the shelves that's like a little spicy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Because
you made
because
a berserk.
everybody's so fucking scared to
Right.
like afraid to have a little bit of dirt on them from strangers on the internet.
Right.
And like my whole philosophy is like I won't even talk to you as a stranger on the internet. Like I will only speak to people who I would like invite into my house.
Right.
In the very smallest instance, I might respond to something, man. But like that's the cutoff. Like, and I literally can't care about what a stranger thinks, man, because
Right.
antithetical to art. It's like I didn't spend at this point 40 years trying to get to a point where I'm now listening to the peanut gallery about what
Right.
comics are okay for me to draw. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
There's a reason you built your ship the way it is. We all kind of share that same philosophy and idea. Scheme with you, you sell your goods and you do your thing at the same way as you, same way as for me. And there's a sense of like pride, and we built that ship in order to have that autonomy. So that's why I think the manga quests are really important, and we have a caravan now.
yeah, totally. And
Right.
it grows little by little bits, man. And I think we all share that same thing where it's like work your fucking ass off at home
Hmm.
and kind of bank the free days. Bank the free days for when you could go out and kick it in Tokyo. Like using on something that counts, not
Yeah.
just like brunch or some
Yeah,
shit
I
like
don't
that.
know. I don't know if this has happened to you guys. I don't even buy stuff here. I just like stack my money to buy in Japan because there's like history and decades of things that I've always wanted. It's almost like the American stuff is like it's not interesting anymore. It's almost kind of sad in a way, you know.
Like for me, like traveling as a DJ and being everywhere, I'm always digging. I'm always hitting the record shops. I'm always hitting the toy shops. I'm always hitting the comic shops. Like this past week, I was in Salt Lake City and in Utah, and the homie took me around. I went to the comic shops, the record shops. Didn't find too many comics that I wanted. Records, I found like, some good records. But he told me, he was like, yo, I want to take you to this bookstore that's 101 years old. And it's still owned by the same family. So we go to this bookstore and it's mad dusty, but it's mad books everywhere. Like pulp novels, you know, sci-fi books, Western books, you know, some comics. You want a book on Hollywood, a particular artist, like whatever. Everything's in there. This guy's been open 101 years. But he had a one section through double doors, and it was like 18 and over only. And you open up the doors and go back, and it's the ridiculous, like, holy grail of porn mags.
Yeah.
Like, ridiculous. Everything in order, like Playboys from 1960 whatever to modern day, all in order, the whole nine. And I found gems in there. Like, the homie I was with actually found a Playboy 80 whatever with an Andy Warhol insert in it, where the Warhol, you could take the insert out and you could fold it and put it on as a Christmas ornament on a tree.
That's sick.
Man.
So we were like digging. Most people aren't digging like that.
Right.
You know, he knew like Playboy, Andy Warhol, Christmas issue, boom, boom, boom. It's got the insert, you know? So yeah. So, I mean, so like I'm always digging. So I still buy in America, but when it comes to the cool stuff like that, I'm like, nah, I'll wait till Japan. Because even then, a lot of the stuff I'm looking for from America is in Japan because they done bought it all up over the years.
Yeah, that's the one thing I did notice. The first time I went to Japan, I said, oh, well, I know where all of our vintage clothes went to.
It's there.
All the streetwear and stuff, man. The Zoo York shirts and the earliest Supreme gears and shit.
Yeah, some of it gets weird too, Ed, because it's very regional. Like it'll be like the Cleveland Browns,
right?
Like T-shirt jersey.
All the starter pullovers are in fucking Tokyo right now. And I seen dudes rocking them. And it would be like, you know, Jacksonville Jaguars and like just the oddest.
Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah.
Right.
Now that was ubiquitous, man. There wasn't anybody that didn't have that Charlotte Hornets joint when Larry Johnson and Muggsy Bogues were on the team. Shit.
Yep.
So like after we did Sean's crib, remember we went back to Nakano.
Yeah, I had to do one last one because you had to make good on something.
I had to make good. So once again, contemplating and was like, okay, I got to get it. I've got one more day here. I had to get the other Ultraman. And this one was from 99. And I was like, okay, this is the vintage one from the 70s. That's the 99 one, slightly different colorway, both the same molds, the original mold from the 70s. And I was like, okay, got to scoop it up. And, you know, once again, Ed's like, yeah, just get it. Just grab it. You know.
But tell the people about that. What's the name of our thread on Instagram and the DMs, man?
Oh, man. Yeah.
let's speak on that some.
So, all right. So there's one thing that I've really been on the hunt. I mean, I can't even really say the hunt for because it's in Japan. It's there. It's there every time I go there. So, like, it's not the hunt. It's like when I feel like buying. But there was a company that made a remote control Godzilla and a remote control Mothra. And the Godzilla, it says spits fire, but it really just spits sparks. And it remote controls, and it does a little roar. The Mothra spits like a webbing, but it's just kind of like, you know, some weird, you know, webbing that comes out the mouth or whatever. But it's always like $500. It's always there. I can get it whenever. And of course, B Moss is like, just get it, Scheme. Just get it. Just get it. You know, but like, that's like that Godzilla. No one in America really knows about that Godzilla or the Mothra.
How'd you find out about that Godzilla?
So I found out about it from Biz Markie because Biz has had one. He's had both of them for like 20 years. You know, rest in peace, Biz. And I remember being on phone calls with Biz, like talking about toys and collecting, and he'd be like, "Yeah, like my Godzilla and blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Yeah, I need the Godzilla, I need it." He's like, "Oh, you'll just get it, just get it." Like, he did the B Marsh, just get it, just get it. But I have this thing where when I know it's there and I can get it, I kind of slack on it unless it's a one of one. If it's a rare Neo Geo, then it's like, okay, I'm not slacking. But when it's something I'm like, okay, it's in Japan, it was made in Japan, they're here, I can get it, then I won't grab it, and I know no one else is grabbing it. So, and that same one was there last year when I was there, same spot and all. So, but the difference is next year when I go back, that currency conversion might not be exact.
Here's the thing too, to like sort of alleviate any sort of FOMO or whatever. When you hold up the augmented reality Google Translate shit, it's busted. It doesn't work completely.
Right.
There's some shit that's wrong with it, man. So to spend that level of cash with something that is busted, like there's
right.
not much need for it. And also, like, the box is
how
like
big
this.
It is. Yeah.
It's fucking gigantic. Like, it's got to be probably the same amount of money to ship it home. Because
right.
I can't imagine that you're gonna bring that on the plane or whatever.
No, that's definitely a ship home, have it waiting, or hey, we might know some people out there with a DHL account, and I could just be like, hey, you get a discount on so I get a discount on this. But yeah, it's like, it's the thrill of being in Japan, and just your eyes are so big and you just see these things and you're like, I need that, I want that, and just the visual memory of next time when you go. So eventually I'll wind up scoring it, but I'm not pressed. Neo Geo, yeah, I was pressed.
Right.
I had to come home and see that waiting.
Yeah, that was so cool, man. I was so glad that you guys made that deal, because yeah, man, we like, even throughout the rest of the trip and all the weird little pockets that we went to, Brian, we didn't come across no Neo Geos, right?
No, there wasn't. No. I came across one after Scheme left, and that's why I was telling you, they're waxing out. It was $1,000, whatever that would be the equivalent to in yen.
Right.
It was like, whereas mine was $350, and this wasn't. I don't think it was boxed. I think it was just the system.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
you got to foreigners.
Another thing that has changed and has been a little updated, man, when it comes to like the foreigners, is like at the hotel, when you pop your key in and it turns the TV on, there's this guy on the TV that like is explaining proper like Japanese etiquette in English, and that wasn't there the first 3 times I've been there. So it's like, people are fucking up too much, man. Like they're setting bad examples and shit. And like, to have that come on the TV, it's pretty embarrassing, because you just know that people are fucking up, and it's not going to be too long before, like, maybe people give us that gaze, strangers, like, like our friends and stuff out there who know the deal, know that we're respectful and stuff like that. But you just get nervous that like enough of that tarnish is gonna become prejudicial, where like people are just like, man, get out of my store type shit. I think already in Kyoto that's happening.
Right.
Like they're trying.
And I will say it's more Europeans than Americans going over there.
Mm-hmm.
It's more Europeans, but still, it's all the Western world. So it just sucks, because when I was going to these places, it just felt peaceful.
Right.
And everyone was like, it was just peaceful. Now everyone's just loud and just rude, and you're just kind of like, damn, you guys, if you're messing with my peace, I know you're fucking with their peace.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you actually make a really good point, Scheme. And like I said, I've only been going for the year now, so it's total about 2.5, 3 months, I think, at most. Ed would know the days exactly. But I even get tight when I see Westerners, and I'm Midwest, I'm like as Westerner as it gets, but I even get tight, because I'm like, man, like I could just tell the energy's off, or that like they're moving differently, or they're moving weird, you get the weirdos over there too.
Yeah, so it's bad, man. It's bad. But I equate that to the economy over there being messed up, and everybody realizing they can go and just have a lot of money and get the bang for the buck. You know, if it was like the euro or the pound and the dollar, then I don't think it would be that influx of people.
Right.
But since the economy is so messed up, people are taking full advantage of it. You know, so I'm like, can y'all stop? I want the economy to get great again so people can stop going, and then like the diehards like us will be going.
Right. Totally. Right. Scheme, did you show off everything that you scooped up?
Yeah, pretty much. I showed off everything. Yeah, I think we're good.
Brian, I know you got some stuff, man.
Yeah. So what we'll do, Ed, I can show what I got because I have like a lot.
Yeah.
I'll have you kind of do my side commentary to some of it as we go through it.
Yeah, yeah, and just keep in mind that like when you speak, the camera's on you. So if I'm quiet, it's because I want people to be able to see the shit.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we're on the same page.
Or actually, you know what? I could even pin you. Yeah, I'm gonna pin you right now, man. So the camera's on you, so we could chat and see the goods, man. So the camera's on you completely.
You guys can offer commentary.
Yeah, totally, dude.
I go through it. I guess we'll start with. Should I go through like how we purchased it through the days because I don't really remember.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good. I just want to set up that first like chunk of days, and you know we're pretty deep into the conversation. I have to say, fellas, the rapport is dope. I would like to do this kind of stream with you guys a little regularly. What do you think about that?
Yeah, the vibe's right, man. I'm totally down. And like,
done and done,
brother. So.
Because like I think what we'll do here is go through your haul and then we'll call it a day. But like we didn't even talk about the Yutaka Manoa interview and the shit that we saw that he showed us.
Yeah, there's stuff that we have to talk about.
Yeah, and then
that's round 2 for sure, right there. That's that's round 2.
Yeah, dude. And then at Comitia, I talked about it a very little bit on the Kayfabe Weekly, but I saw about 400 pages of Katsuhiro Otomo artwork that probably no person in America has seen. Like a dude straight up stalked me.
Yep.
And like saw that I was there and like hunted me and had this stuff ready to go when he caught me away from everybody else. It was the wildest shit. So that'll be episode 2 of the fucking Manga Quest crew. That's what we are. Man. We're the Manga Quest crew.
Oh, yeah.
That's what. This
and I can bear witness to that. I wasn't there, but I got the testimonies about the Otomo thing, so that's a fact, man.
And I had to do that because we crossed paths like that. It was like our last day, really. We crossed paths, and I had to tell the story because I needed my Japanese brethren to back me up because it was too intense and too wild to think. Like you could call me a big fish storytelling motherfucker if I didn't have those dudes to back it up.
I would even call cap on it, Ed, because it's just like, well, that's a little too far fetched. That doesn't even make sense. Like, you know what I mean? And it's not a question of your character. It's how exciting this thing is that you saw.
Totally. Yeah, it was out of control. But we'll save that for episode 2 of the group stream, and maybe like next time, you know, what do you call it? Like Maui Comic-Con will not be happening, and we could maybe have Alika come into the mix. So Brian, I'm pinning you up on the thing, man. Let's see what you got.
All right. So we'll start off. I'll just knock out the other video game real quick, just so that we can have some fun with that. Akumo Dracula, Rondo of Blood, Neo Geo. This is for the Super CD. I mean, not Neo Geo. Sorry, TurboGrafx. It's for the TurboGrafx CD. Analog is making a Turbo Duo, so cop that for my nostalgia and fun. So excited for that.
What's amazing is this is the first time of my 4 trips that I ever saw a Rondo of Blood in the case, and saw it at 2 places. It was at one of those retro game stores that was an aside to Super Potato, but you got yours at Super Potato. Never saw that there. I think once again that is a consequence of the PC Engine Mini being available and containing Rondo of Blood, so that people get rid of their their old stock or whatever.
Yeah, and when I was there, Ed, I asked the dude for it because I didn't see it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, 1 second," and he brought out this one. He brought it out of a stack from the back.
Yeah, that's sick.
It was sealed. I said, "Oh, can I see the disc?" Because I couldn't read the information. He said, like, I understood what he was saying. He said, "No need. It's perfect."
Right.
And so when I got outside, I took it out and everything, and I was like, "Oh, he's serious. This thing, Ed, is like crispy, dude. This thing is for real, for real."
It's got the tight spines and shit.
Yep. Like, it looks like the dude, whoever had it, probably bought it, but probably played a ROM of it,
Right.
and just had it in their collection. Or, it's one of those things where it's like hardcore collector and they finally let it go after the mini came out or whatever. So
Right.
yeah. But we'll start it off big. We got World Apartment Horror. So this is Satoshi Kon. And we got, obviously, it has Otomo's hand in this because I don't know the printing of this. I don't think it ever has went into another printing outside the original. This thing I've only known from the internet because this cover is so like iconic and beautiful. I'm holding at an angle because of the glare.
Of course.
But trust me, guys, when I tell you, look this up on the internet. This is a beautiful book. And I came across it at a Madarake. Which one? I can't remember which one. Shibuya, thank you, Ed. And so seeing it in the case, once again, when you see it in the case, you're like, okay, this is going to be a good store. And that was the situation this time around. They had great stock. This was less than $100. So it's one of those things where definitely my best, besides the Domu,
And
this is it.
and if you remember, that's the book that that dude Hiro who drew the Star Wars manga. That's the stuff that he was talking about. Like you could see Satoshi Kon is drawing stuff in that World Apartment Horror that he totally thinks that Satoshi Kon drew certain backgrounds and stuff in Volume 5 of Akira. And,
yeah, that's right.
And he was making those comparisons and things.
But it's funny because we were poking fun at that. I mean, being lighthearted. But like I said, I could see the DNA now.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting that you can kind of come back around to that conversation.
Yeah.
Something that was really cool that I picked up, we were with Aki that day.
Yes.
And so you're looking at one volume of Lupin is Monkey Punch. Obviously, you can see how much manga is in there. It's very dense, right? So this is one volume. I happen to have all 4 of them.
Right.
So this thing, and it was one of those things where it's like, are you going to carry the weight? Are you going to put this in a bag? Are you going to get an extra bag? How are you going to manage this? So you can see this is just 3 of these. And then the 4th one. And I had to get it because it's one of those things where Monkey Punch, it's like a pretty pervasive in America, but not really available.
He's like pervasive on TV. Like that shit was on, Cartoon Network or whatever. But like we had the Tokyo Pop comics, and then there's that new 7 Seas Entertainment that has 2 like best of volumes that are out right now, but it's not that much comics. It's
right.
Maybe 300 pages. It might be enough to support one of those books. And,
right.
And you have 4 of them. But
yeah,
if I remember,
so this was just so that you guys understand like the importance of this stuff and why it's important to archive and collect this stuff, because this was the equivalent of $12
right,
for this whole thing. And it's like, come on, B, you have to go for it. It's because it's just not here.
Totally. It's what I always say. It's not even the price is not the issue. It's literally the weight that you could support in your bag. And truthfully, like whenever, like last year when I was on my Grail trip, I brought 4 complete suitcases full of stuff, and I shipped 2 big boxes. I spent about $600 on shipping of stuff meant to just like sew up a whole bunch of stuff. But when you scooped up that Lupin, that was but one set of things that you got at that exact shop.
Bro, you already know what's about to.
Wait, how much was your over baggage weight fees? Was your bags overweight?
No, because I like every time I would go home, I would put it because I'm very like organized. So what I would do is put it in the suitcase, weigh it. And so every day I was like, okay, I could buy this much weight.
Running the tally.
They probably think we're talking about drugs.
So but the thing is, like, did Rachel check some bags, or did you have access to 4 checked bags for yourself?
Oh yeah, so Rachel only brought 1 bag, which
so you had 3.
So we had 3. I already had an extra one, so there was 4 altogether.
Of course, yeah. But I was curious about your stuff.
Yeah, I have. I brought one full suitcase and then two empty ones, and
Right.
I filled those two empty ones up, and I took out some of my clothes and put more books in it. So yeah, this is serious.
Yeah, man.
So Ed, I'll let you describe this one. I was there, and
Right.
I like had to cheat on Ed and Aki, and I ran to the back, and
Yeah,
on the
totally.
top shelf
You know
was
what?
this.
Speak on them for a minute, and like I did a episode showing off my haul because like
Yep.
I got like two loose ones, and I'm like totally
Okay.
fine with that because it's like let me just get a couple. But I think if they're all full color, like that's the thing to get. But when I showed off mine, I wasn't able to find my set of the press pop like the translated shits, but I did
Oh,
find it, so I'm gonna go run and
okay.
get
Yeah,
it,
go grab that,
and
and
then
I'll
just
talk
speak
about
on it,
this.
man.
So this is Norukuro, which is the equivalent of like a Felix the Cat, um, which is kind of a riff on Felix, but not really. It's its own thing. And so with this collection, this was being curated. Chris Ware did actually a lot of covers for the reprinting. So that's how I'm familiar with this. So when I was in Japan, and you can tell, I haven't taken it out at all of the plastic. So this is my first time doing this. Now, this pre-war manga is really important because, from a historical standpoint, and the design of this stuff,
Are those full color?
it's yeah,
Yeah, that's sick.
and so just top notch, and you can see there
That's amazing.
how well the quality still and how rich this is. Now this might be a reprint, obviously.
Those are
That
old
could,
looking books, man.
yeah, but if we're talking historical, like like early manga, this is just beautiful. Any of these work just in the sense of design material, aesthetics, packaging, even.
Right.
It's very considerate. So you can see how somebody like a Chris Ware would be attracted to this kind of stuff.
Yeah. With that in mind, this is how we know that work. Let's
Yep.
see. So it's this sucker right here, man. I think Presspot put this out, but Chris Ware did the design work. It's a slipcase, and it's kind of it's designed with all of that same stuff in mind, but
Yep.
it's even like earlier materials from that like
Yeah,
Cache
you get the
Hone rental
duotones.
manga era.
Yep.
So there you go.
So yeah, so this collection was really important for me to get. And so once again, I don't mind talking about the context of pricing. I usually don't talk about, but I think it's important for documentation. So something like this is more so the weight that you're carrying back
Yeah.
from Japan
Right.
versus it being the actual um the price of the book. So this whole set, um like an American dollar, end up being like $32 for
Right.
this entire thing. And the thing is like having this collection and having things like the Billy Ireland Museum, this just is a nice complement to what we already have established here in Columbus. So it's like to have something like this in my collection is probably like will bring me decades of inspiration.
Absolutely.
So
And
this is
we got those materials, man, from out in the cut. Like it was not your Mandarakes. Like we went on the hunt.
yeah, we went into the trenches. Another highlight is fire, and we documented this on the Instagram page, so you can go on there and check it out. This is Fire by Hideko Mizuno, a female mangaka, and her work. This is about. I'm not sure what it's about because this is actually Rachel's book, but it's basically about revolutionary ideas, protesting, and music. So the cool thing about this, when we got this, I saw this, I was like, "Yeah, we need to get this for Rachel." And then, lo and behold, they told us and showed us that it was autographed. So to get this a signed copy is really a nice little memory and treasure to have now in the collection. So potentially we'll do a review on the channel about this because there's a lot of modern ideas in this, but I have to read it and do some research first before I feel confident about talking about it. But if you come across this, definitely research it, check it out. Really, really cool. So that's definitely one of the highlights, Ed. And then we got this one right here is actually pretty cool too. It's called Mama.
Mm-hmm.
And this one we found by the same store actually as the other books that I'm showing you. And this is by a creator named Takashi Itsuki. I looked him up and we kind of surmised or came to the conclusion that he's just kind of like a one-off doujinshi type, like an underground artist.
Right.
The cool thing about this, obviously, you're getting like very experimental body contortions and body horror. But the highlight and the crazy part about this is that once again, it comes in the vein of that Otomo Akira kind of aesthetic in the sense of that really clean design. The look of it, let me kind of find something that's a little bit more appropriate because some of this is wild. Yeah, so we get things like this. So this was just a couple bucks, and I really, really dig this find. So I'm super pumped about this one. This is kind of one of those things that like I have an eye for, came across it, and in conclusion, you kind of see how that looks.
Yeah, that's good,
So
man.
this
That's,
book
that's
is
like
definitely a good find. So keep an eye out for this. It is available online. I have seen it, but I think it's only like one website has it available. So check that out. Ed, I think did you speak about this on the because I watched some of the Manga Quest. Did you talk about this one?
Yeah, I talked about it in a cursory way, and we shot a video, so we got that one covered. We'll put it up, this next coming week maybe.
Cool. And then we copped finally got Val because last time I have the Shonen Jump, the first appearance of this book.
Right.
Now we have these. These were actually pretty affordable, so I'm glad to have the complete story now.
Yes. That's a
And I have the
Rocky.
OVA.
Yeah, that's the dude who does JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, man. That's the comic that he did as a precursor. And I think all of that was published in the States through Viz, so you can read an English version, but those are the original tankobons.
Yep. And then to keep on that train, I got the. Oh, here we go. Well, I'm sure we'll get to it, but I got a couple of his other books. So once those pop up, I'll show you guys.
Yeah, go through the stacks. It's all gravy.
Yep. So here's an interesting one. We're going to veer for a second from manga. So this is a Lane art book, and they republished this.
Right.
So if anyone's into the anime of Lane,
Serial Experiments Lane.
This has been reprinted. So definitely cop this because it's not going to be in print long. We know that people are fanatics of Lane. So that's definitely one to get. And like I said, it's just a reprinting of the original art book. So, but it's now affordable. It's not $100.
Yeah, that's something that we missed in I think September. That's when there was like the animation cell exhibit and some art show at I think it was maybe even that Sun Mall in Ikebukuro.
Yeah, that was because I saw the post late, and I was like, "Oh, Ed, we should go to that." And then obviously it was over. I got the other half. Ed, did you end up getting the Pinocchio?
I couldn't find the Pinocchio, which is so dumb because it's in Village Vanguard pretty easy. But you know what it is? It's like the people will only help you for so long, and then they're like, "Listen, man, just keep looking." But that's Osamu Tezuka doing an adaptation of Pinocchio, Walt Disney.
And when he taps into the copyright characters, it's pretty spot on. So this is definitely one that is important to have, just because obviously you will never get this in America. If we do, I don't see it being like largely distributed or promoted.
In the Bambi one, it's funny because like the Thumper sometimes looks like Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, they couldn't distinguish the difference. Now, this is one I got when me and Scheme were together.
That's a
Because
good
he
cover.
showed me all those classic, manga, and this one, it's a definitely a weird one. It's amazing. Let's see if we get some pages. Let's see. So you get some nice violence. Like I said, the art, and so this girl is like an aerobics instructor, and then obviously the rest is torture. I can barely show you any of this.
Yeah, right.
It's so hardcore. So, but trust me when I tell you, this one's definitely worth. Yeah, I literally can't show you.
Yeah, that's like that Maruo stuff, man. You just can't, you can't do
There's a
it.
second volume of that too, with a
Oh,
different another
word?
cover.
Really?
Yeah, I saw it the other day when I was like scanning and looking for it. But this cover's the better cover, but like it's that series, so it's got to be good.
Yeah, this is definitely cop this. Like I said, I took a risk, and this was actually affordable because Scheme got them Scheme dollars. So those ones he was showing off were pretty pricey. This you could get it at the bottom. It's affordable.
Yo, I actually looked at the prices when I got home, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize I spent 50 on that. I didn't realize." Yeah, but like it's like you're on vacation. You eat steak every night because you're on vacation. Steak
Right.
and lobster, right? So yeah, but like I looked, I was like, "Oh man, these are pricey."
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
no, but the
dude, yeah.
thing
You were sucking things up too, man. And I'm like, damn, 5,000 yen, 4,000 yen, 6,000 yen. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah, I was like, yo, Scheme does this for real. So
And
that
when
was,
you're in Japan, like the food, you get incredible food for like 800 yen. You know,
Yeah,
like you eat for nothing out there unless you proactively decide to go bougie.
right. Which
right.
I never do.
Right.
No, it would actually be kind of like counterculture to do that because the way the food and everything seems, it's like in and out, quick eating.
And it's
You eat
so
smaller
good.
meals.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I eat
best.
McDonald's. I eat McDonald's like 3 times a week there
Yeah, you can do that
because
there.
it's quality. It's not
Right.
like what we're eating here. It's like you're eating quality. So I'll get the double cheeseburger meal, large fries and the Dr Pepper and the apple pie, and I'm good.
Right.
Right. And then we got
And by the way, the McDonald's meal is more expensive than Japanese foods out there.
yeah,
Yes,
that's
It'll
true.
be like $20 for everything you just said. Might be like $20 worth, man. And like
yeah,
$20 would get you so much ramen and shit.
yeah. Or a convenience store fried chicken.
Oh, dude, you get enough for like 6 families.
It's the best.
So I got some Matsumoto's because these were super cheap. Carry them in the pocket.
Right.
Check. And so I think it's the number 5 story. And then because I haven't really went through all of them yet, I'll show you guys a little bit of the work. You're familiar because we'll be doing a video if Ed hasn't posted it yet
Right.
on Matsumoto.
And that one came to the States, I believe, in a single tankobon, and I do have it. It has the word blue in the title. I forget it completely, but that's going for big money in the States right now. The English version.
Yeah, this was literally like I think 80 cents.
Right.
So it's like that's how I was telling you, Scheme, like in my suitcases, I'll get things every day, smaller things like this, because it's like, okay, like I at least have it, you know what I mean, in some form. So that
And I
works
love
out.
when there's a series and you just like the whole series is there and you're like, I just need to buy all 5 of them because they're just right here. I don't have to go dig
Exactly.
around different stores. I'll just grab everything right here.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they will do that, man. They'll just have the plastic that contains like the whole shit. Man, I got that Kamui series. It's 20 books.
Yeah,
Crazy.
that's incredible, Ed. That was a good find. Ed, can you tell the audience about this? This is Red Room Japan.
Right. Yeah, that was Sean, Japan Book Hunter, is like, man, here's a book for the Red Room guy, and the rigor of the work inside there, it has the, recording murders for fun and profit type shit, or maybe just for the fun part, but like they're doing stippling by hand and then adding tones to it and stuff. It's probably some of the most rigorous artwork I've seen in a manga, and it looks so singular. Like I don't know that assistants are really fucking around with that too much. Yeah, look at that. That's
Right.
brutality, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, this one feels a lot more intimate, as if the process was a lot more methodical and paced. Like there's a lot of intention in this book.
Yeah.
So this is one that I'll probably study this winter, and get really disturbed, and then make some awesome fucking art to it. You know, something fun. And then we got. Actually, I haven't even looked at this one yet, Ed.
Yes.
Do you know much about this one? Tell
Yeah,
me
for
about it.
sure. So like when I went there last time, there's one more recent Otomo comic. It's a continuation of his like war series, but before that war comic came out in whatever random magazine that was, what you hold in your hand was an insert inside a Brutus magazine. And you know how they have those magazines that have the Popeye characters? It's Brutus, it's Popeye, and then the chicks have like olive oil, I guess.
Yeah.
So this would be, it was like an all Otomo issue of Brutus, and that is a comic insert that would have been in that thing. So that was a great find, because that was one of those guys at Nakano Broadway that just has the case. Scheme, how they have like there are those dudes that have the case.
Well, now yeah.
It's not really the full store. So it was, the store that we went into where the scheme where the guy was like, oh, Chip Kid was just in here last week or whatever. So it's right outside of that area was one of the cases where Brian got these. But what was cool was that the dude had a bunch of shit. So he had some Brutuses that like Hakeem was able to scoop up, and it was just it was a cool thing.
Totally.
I love that, because it seems like he had a lot of randoms,
right,
that everyone was looking for.
Yes.
So this, I've been collecting these now for a few years. Now these are the Satoshi Kon storyboards, and Ed and I were digging, and they must have came out with the Paranoid Agent collection. I can't find this online or if it's distributed it in America yet.
Right.
So this is probably the newest one out of this would be the fifth one.
Yep.
Out of them, and they've done all the movies. And the reason these are important is because Satoshi Kon didn't really do too many manga. Like there's probably a handful, like 5 or 6, but these would be considered like the a comic form. Like if you want something larger from Satoshi Kon, this would be the way to go to get these storyboards.
Right.
And they're pretty affordable now. But this is the newest one, and so I'm definitely really stoked to have this.
Yeah.
Because this is just tops off the collection,
Yeah, I scooped that one up out there, and then as I was looking through it, I was like, "Fuck, man! I think I got to get them all." And I was starting to scoop them up, and then I'm like, "Let me just see if they're available on Amazon in the States for real cheap and stuff." And they're cover price here in the States, at least as of when I scooped them up. So when I got back into town, they were waiting for me, because that's the other game that you have to negotiate. Like if you can find it for the same price, like you don't weigh down your luggage with that type of shit. So that's
exactly
that's game.
Definitely a trick that we figured out why we were there.
Yeah.
And I'll do that even with like gifts and stuff. You can really just get the small stuff out the way through Amazon and have it just delivered to your door.
Right.
Or you could just be like me and leave your clothes at your tour manager's house and just pack your stuff, because you're coming back in a year anyway. You don't need those T-shirts.
Yeah, there you go.
I just I do wear my B-list gear while out there, with the thought in mind that if I have to fucking abandon
Dump the
ship,
load?
I'm not gonna cry about it too much. But it's actually never happened, because like what will happen is I will distribute the clothes throughout all the bags, and it'll even like I'll wrap up like the more significant, more fragile stuff in some hoodies or some shit like that, just to give it a little bit more padding.
Right.
Yeah, totally. And I would say overall that would be my highlights. The rest of the stuff is pretty nuanced because I know it's getting pretty late.
Right.
But just like our B tier stuff like this, and like this was just literally bought because of the covers, and it's like Detective Taxi Driver Man or something like that. I ended up found it eventually, but
Yeah,
the
there's a
design
TV
is
show.
clutch. Yeah, it's a TV show. The design is clutch, and these like look really cool. Going back to your point, scheme, like some things can just be vanity, like you got it on the shelf type joint.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of that kind of stuff this time around, just the peripheral kind of things. So which is cool, but like I said, we're walking away with some serious heavy hitters this time with the Domu, that Neo Geo game, and then that the World Apartment Horror.
Yeah.
Like, so I would say those were the highlights of the collection.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. We didn't even talk about those Murakami pillows.
Oh yeah, those things.
You know what we should do? Like
I'm a travel.
next round, like here's how I envision it. Like next round, bring them all. There's got to be 5 or 6 of them shits. So
Yeah.
so
The collection's insane at this point.
yeah. So be opulent with it, and
For
then
sure.
and then we'll talk about that stuff. Maybe we'll be able. I don't know what time it would be in France at around this time or whatever. But we got to get Jeff Darrow on the hook as well because we had that whole Brave and Bold.
Oh, actually, Ed, I got one more thing to show the crew. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, word.
If you remember.
Scheme, man, are you setting up your next round for 2024? Like when
Yep.
do you plan on going next time, man?
My usual tour, cherry blossom season, man. Sometime late March into mid-April, late April.
That's awesome.
So I'm gonna do it then, and then I think I'm going back out again in July or August.
Ooh, the hot
It's
season.
for like a week. Yeah, like I do this party out there, so I have to go. And then again, once Manga Quest happens next year, boom. So it'll be like a 3-timer this year again.
Yeah. Like we're probably going to do 2, and I want to check out like the Sakura blossoms, all that kind of shit. I've never really done that. The earliest I've been out there was May of
Yeah,
it was this
that's
year.
a little late.
It was
Yeah.
still beautiful. There was still cool stuff. But you know what it is, man, is just where Kayfabe is concerned, we shoot 1 extra video every week. So it's like I need to make sure that I have enough buffer so that
Right.
we're never lacking.
Right.
Oh man,
So-
what does that be,
so-
Moss? Let me just
So
pin that.
Uncle Jeff had some pieces available, and so I was able to get Rachel this for a honeymoon gift, right? So I can use the shorty for an excuse to buy awesome artwork. So this piece, once again, we get that surgical line
Yes.
of Jeff, the nuances and detail. And it's one of those things, guys. If you ever get a chance, like don't sleep on buying artwork from your favorite artist because it's one of those things that you're going to regret it. Scheme kind of established that this time around. So definitely super proud of this one.
Yeah,
So-
totally. Wasn't it fun when Jeff was there to when he pulls out his tools, just puts them on the table? Like I just was taking pictures of them and like, man, let me see what the fuck this dude inks with.
Yeah, man, it's wild because it's one of those things where it's so what you're anticipating that you're going to see, and you're still impressed when you see it. So this year he did a new, different Spider-Man, and it's just like, it's like better than the other one. It's like usually with age, artists get worse. I can even say that for myself, but like Jeff literally gets better.
He pushes. He continuously pushes, man. It doesn't slack on the Mac and whatsoever.
Dude, totally.
Fellas,
Yeah, so one
fellas,
of those things where it was a good memory, so I was happy to get it and support and to have that time with them,
absolutely, man. There's so much to continue to discuss, but we're about 3 hours in, boys. So we should call it a day. I want to thank you guys for joining this conversation. Scheme Richards, man, tell the people what parties you have coming up. Tell the people what websites and social media they need to hit so that they can keep up with your adventures.
Yes, yes. You can hit me on Instagram at Scheme Richards. That's Skeme Richards, Richards. My website, nostalgiaking.com, that has, tour dates. It has cool shit that I collect, all the party dates, like everything. There's even a recap from the Fist of the North Star with all of the photos that, I took from there, and, photos of the whole gang and some of the photos of, just the artwork there. So those are the two main places you can reach me at. And, kicking off 2024, I will definitely be in your area, north, south, east, west, Europe, Asia. I will be there. Just follow me on Nostalgia King or Instagram.
B Moss, let the people know.
For sure. So my name is Brian Moss, as you all know. Instagram account Strange Things Moss. You can hit me up there. I have my books available. Desert Decay is my current one. And then my other previous one, Outer Heaven, is still available. So these two books I'm working on promoting right now. I'm currently working on a new book that I got inspired while I was in Japan. So I'll be leaking some of that art out on my Instagram over the next few months. Hopefully I can have it wrapped up by the spring for everybody. So, and then you can get access to my Etsy shop through Instagram as well. And thank you for having me, Ed.
For sure, man. It's always a pleasure. The audience loves you guys, and I just need to let everybody know that behind me, it's the trilogy of the 2023-2024 projects to date. Hip Hop Family Tree Omnibus is in stores now. You still have plenty of time to get it before the Christmas holiday is here, man. So scoop it off of your local comic shop or Amazon, whatever's convenient to you. It's the best book I've made to date. Marvel, behind my head, just recently collected all my X-Men Grand Design comics. So it's your way to get all 3 volumes of X-Men Grand Design inside of one handy collection. And the third round of Red Room Comics, Crypto Killers, is going to be in stores in January. So save up a little bit of that holiday loot, and you'll be able to complete the Red Room collection. James Easterly in the chat says, "Don't sleep on the Scheme Richards cassette drops." And I feel like when we went to Sean's Japan Book Hunter's place, man, he was already rocking.
He was
your latest mixtape.
Yeah.
Super cool, guys. It was such a pleasure chatting with you, and I'm very, very happy that we have this on the record. But we didn't even cover all the territory, man. So it would be cool if we can, reconvene. Maybe next week or something like that, and do another round of bullshitting.
Done and done. We need to talk about the conveyor belt sushi. We need to
Yeah,
get
there's a lot to cover.
All that stuff, man. To get Aliko on the set. All that shit.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Have a good night, and read more comics.